The following is an exclusive presentation of the World Baseball Classic.
Shohei Ohtani, 1 of 1.
¡Siéntate! Lo retrata sin sonrisa.
God! George has arrived. Good night now. Santa Maria.
Se va.
High and deep and gone.
World Baseball Classic. You get it all.
Last night in San Juan, Puerto Rico's baseball heroes took the field in front of a near-capacity crowd of their faithful fans for a World Baseball Classic game on home soil for the first time in 13 years. Aiming for a hot start to Pool A play, they delivered in a 5-0 win over Colombia. Tonight, it'll be another packed house as Cardinals prospect Leonardo Bernal and Panama aim to rebound from a day one loss and look to play spoiler against Nolan Arenado in Puerto Rico as the home team looks to move to 2-0 to kick off the 2026 World Baseball Classic. And with that, everybody, hello, good evening, and welcome inside the press box at here on Bithorn Stadium. Alongside the legendary Ryan Rowland-Smith, my name is Tyler Maun. Ryan, big start last night for Puerto Rico, feeding off the energy of this home crowd, trying to move to 2-0 tonight. Panama trying to avoid that 0-2 start.
Yeah, this Puerto Rican offense, they exploded in that fifth inning. They're kind of quiet around there, but you mentioned Team Panama as well. We've got some big names with this Panamanian team, just unable to do anything offensively.
Speaking of big names offensively, Nolan Arenado is the engine in the middle of this Puerto Rico lineup. Did not have a ton of production last night, but really outside of that fifth inning, neither did anybody else on this team. He's trying to get his team rolling offensively.
Well, first of all, when you think about the most complete third baseman in Major League Baseball now, and maybe when you're talking about historic numbers, you think of Nolan Arenado. Look at the home runs, over 350 of them, and the hits really close to 2,000. It has been a little bit of a decline the last couple of years. He is in the final 2 years of that $275 million deal. He's got a brand new team. So yes, he's got the 10 gold gloves, the 8-time All-Star, but he's trying to revamp some of that magic he had in the midst of his career. Can he do it? And can he find that with Team Puerto Rico here at the World Baseball Classic?
Arenado, one of just 6 players in Classic history to represent multiple teams, played and won a title with the United States in 2017. He was on that squad that made it to the final in 2023 as well, and now honoring his maternal side by playing for Puerto Rico. Now for Panama tonight, Ryan, they went up against a trio of brilliant arms yesterday for Cuba and an eventual loss on day number 1. They only had 5 hits, tallied 1 run, but an opportunity to get back on track tonight.
Well, you mentioned they ran into some elite pitching for Team Cuba, led up by Levan Moinella. They got another tough lefty today. But look, we've got a lot of familiar faces with this Panamanian team. We've got Leandro Bernal, who's a top 100 prospect. But what about some of the big league names they've got? Jose Caballero was on base a couple times with a walk, with a punch out, just nothing really doing. They're 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They had the one chance with that leadoff double in the 3rd inning. But you look at some of these names, like I said, Jose Caballero, we saw him in 2023. Since then, his career has gone off. Armando Sosa is going to be hitting 2nd in that lineup. Some of these big boys for this Panamanian team, call them an underdog if you like, but they need to step up here big and get some offense started for Team Panama on day 2.
Similarly to Canada, who we talked about in game 1 today, this is probably the best team that Panama has ever brought to a World Baseball Classic. All 30 members of this roster have at one time been on an affiliated club. 18 have played in the big leagues. 14 are still with major league organizations. So a lot of promise, a lot of talent on this squad for Panama as they look to bounce back tonight. But they're not only going against this Puerto Rico team, they're going against nearly 20,000 who are already loud behind us as we get set for night number 2 here at Bithorn Stadium. Another beautiful night for baseball. Ariel Jurado and Panama looking to play the role of spoiler on night number 2 against Eduardo Rivera and Puerto Rico. Lineups and first pitch next from San Juan.
Puerto Rico empata el juego a 1 por cuadrangular de Alex Ríos.
Bernie Williams base hit. Puerto Rico has the lead. Puerto Rico wins it 2-1. Goodbye, home run. His 2nd for Pudge Rodriguez. Puerto Rico comes away with a 7-0 win.
Now in the 6th World Baseball Classic, it is the 4th time that Iran Bithorn Stadium has hosted pool play action, and tonight we got a good one on deck for you as Panama, which dropped its first contest yesterday, a 3-1 defeat at the hands of Cuba, gets set to go against the home team, and the crowd behind them nearly 20,000 strong here in Puerto Rico. The second time World Baseball Classic manager of this Puerto Rico squad, Yadier Molina, he and his team, Ryan Rowland-Smith, extremely difficult to beat in their home ballpark. 9-1 in opening round play and a 10-3 overall mark. They did also host some second round games in an earlier edition of the Classic. On the other side, Jose Mayorga, he and his team trying to figure out a way to be able to get enough done against Eduardo Rivera tonight, who is the starting pitcher for Puerto Rico, to get themselves into the win column after sputtering a little bit yesterday. And here is the lineup that Mayorga sends out. A whole lot of changes because slightly before game time today, Alan Cordoba replaced in this lineup due to left shoulder soreness. That restructured everything. Yeah,
you see Jose Caballero slide up into that leadoff spot. He's really the only speed option. We talked about how dynamic this lineup needs to be and take advantage of that speed. They have lost some of that speed in this lineup besides Caballero. You see Armando Sosa hitting second. But I'll tell you what, some of these big boys in this lineup need to step up and get some offense going.
And here he is, the left-handed 22-year-old, big-bodied Eduardo Rivera, 6'7", 237, a guy who has pitched most recently in the Boston Red Sox organization after being drafted by the Athletics. The Red Sox have sort of brought him back to life.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it, the fact he got let go by the Athletics. I mean, 6'7", 237 pounds. He's a lefty. He can throw in the mid-90s. He can touch 97, 98. He's got a good breaking ball to go with it. But man, what a night for him on home turf with this team, Puerto Rico, surrounded by this star-studded roster from Puerto Rico. So big night for him, taking on Jose Caballero to get started.
Caballero set to kick things off, just 22 years old, Eduardo Rivera, but his manager said pregame today, Eduardo's a guy that I know very well. He came from my town. I know his family, know his dad. I've known him and followed him ever since he was little. This guy has a lot of talent, and he has the ability to be in this kind of field. Those are pretty big words of praise from Yadier Molina, trusting a 22-year-old with the first pitch tonight. And here we go on a Saturday evening at Iran Bithorn Stadium. And the first pitch, with maybe a little bit extra juice behind it, 96 miles an hour, is up and away, and we are underway in San Juan. Jose Caballero 0 for 2 last night, Ryan, with a walk. Takes strike one.
Yeah, and just get inside the strike zone just like that. We saw that first pitch spraying that ball. Again, the adrenaline takes over sometimes. He's 22 years old. In front of this home crowd.
Big southpaw kicks and deals, and up high again and again at 96. And we so often discuss the emotion and the energy in games like this. If you were 22 years old, and you're stepping onto a stage like this in front of a crowd like this, how do you try to manage that?
Well, there's a couple elements to that, right? So first of all, you mentioned the fact that youth. He obviously hasn't played in the big leagues, but he's, inside a clubhouse with a bunch of guys he looks up to. He's got Nolan Arenado over his right shoulder over there at third base. So he's looking around, maybe a little overwhelmed. Just get comfortable early and go to work.
Rivera deals, and the 2-2 is over to Nolan Arenado. 1 up, 1 down in the first.
Now what helps with this as well, as we talk about Eduardo Rivera, the man behind the dish, Christian Vazquez. Now he's getting the start tonight. We saw Martin Maldonado last night, but Christian Vazquez is very familiar with Rivera. Caught him in winter ball. He knows him well, and there's always, when you got that 60 feet away from you, some of that comfort level, someone you're used to dealing with in winter ball, or maybe you had to stop somewhere along the way. It just helps. You can make that eye contact and just bear down, make pitches.
First offering is ball 1 to Edmundo Sosa. The original lineup tonight had Alan Cordoba, the veteran outfielder, starting in this spot in the order and playing in center field. But Cordoba, as we noted pregame, left shoulder soreness, not in the lineup tonight. Late changes, and I mean, that changed everything in this lineup. So Sosa slides up. He was 1 for 4 with a double yesterday. But man, for Jose Mayorga and earlier today for Jose Mosquera of Colombia,
right before the start of their second games of the Classic. Big time changes as a bouncing ball left side finds Daryl Hernandez. 2 gone. On the Columbia side earlier today was Julio Teheran, who could not make his start, dealt with some shoulder soreness in his pregame work, so it ended up being a bullpen day for Columbia as they fell in a loss to Canada 8-2. And for Panama, no time to feel bad for yourselves. You just got to figure it out now. So 2 away, and here comes the St. Louis Cardinals prospect, Leo Bernal. Outstanding season last year in the Cardinals organization with AA Springfield. Bernal, a minor league Gold Glove Award winner. A good offensive profile as well. And playing against his hero, Yadier Molina, the manager on the other side, here on the second night of the Classic. Bernal's father was a catcher when he played in Panama. His mother was a catcher playing softball, and his younger brother is a catcher.
Oh, you got no choice then, young man.
And when he was a kid, he said Yadier Molina was one of the reasons he fell in love with playing that position. You see the scouting grades, according to MLB Pipeline, to well above average fielding grades, fielding and arm strength. Bernal, who yesterday was 2 for 4, skies this one in, a foul ground, long run over there, and able to get there in time to make the grab, Carlos Cortez, and the inning is over. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Puerto Rico coming to the rack. Starting lineup looks like this for Yadier Molina's Puerto Rico squad, looking to move to 2-0 in the first 2 nights of the World Baseball Classic. Last night, Ryan did all of their damage in a 5-run 5th inning, which featured all 5 of their hits.
Right, and there was some big swings. Heliot Ramos, who we got highlighted. See some of the numbers from him. He drove that ball to right center field. Thought that ball was going out last night. It was held up, but yeah, you mentioned it. Everything, all the damage done in the 5th inning, but they're up against a tough right-hander that you may not know a whole lot about because he's snuck off to the KBO in Korea. Absolutely dominated over in Korea, just re-signed back over there for $1.6 million for the 2026 season. With a 2.6 ERA last year, 2025.
Ariel Jurado going to work against the first man he sees in Willie Castro. And yeah, we'll talk about his profile, but the thing that I think really stands out about Jurado, it's not necessarily dominant stuff, but he is just really very good at utilizing what he's got. 2-1 is bounced foul.
Well, everything has that downward angle to it, right? So the fastball's got a ton of movement, ton of sink. It's so tough to square up. As you see right here in the scouting report, hard to square up. Doesn't overpower anyone. He's just learned how to pitch. Keeps the walks down, gets in good counts. I mean, he was just under 200 innings each of the last 3 years. A sub-3 ERA over in Korea, which is no joke. So it's a tough matchup for Puerto Rico.
2-2 pitches, swung on and missed, and the guy they call Bartolito because of his resemblance to Bartolo Colon has his first strikeout of the night. 1 up and 1 down, that'll bring in Heliot Ramos.
Is this your new favorite nickname?
Oh no,
Bartolito?
we have so many good ones. Actually, it's not even my favorite nickname for Ariel Jurado because Samsung Lions fans,
I was leading you towards this. Go for it.
You're a good man, you know? You're a good broadcast partner. They refer to Ariel Jurado's midsection as a first pitch swinging fly ball off the bat of Heliot Ramos will settle into the glove of Jose Ramos. They call that the baseball pocket. His belly. That's what KBO fans call it, the baseball. But look at these numbers in Korea, and again, for a guy who doesn't have overpowering stuff, really impressive work, and maybe most impressive, the durability. The innings lead last season in the KBO, the most in his career.
Right, and just trying to rely on that soft contact. We talked about some of the movement on that heater. You're going to see plenty of sink. You'll see some of the swings too against him. You're like, well, hold on a minute. You're not seeing him light up the radar gun, but some awkward swings. Had a little bit of time with the Texas Rangers. Was traded to the Mets. Couldn't quite stick around in the big leagues. Found a little niche over there in Korea.
And he's going to have a quick and quiet bottom half of the first inning. Elliot Ramos and Nolan Arenado both gone on the first pitch. We'll go to the second, scoreless in San Juan. Talk about punching above your weight in the World Baseball Classic for an island of a population slightly more than Houston, Texas. Puerto Rico 15-2 all-time in the opening round of World Baseball Classic history, tied for the most wins with Japan. Puerto Rico has been a dominant force, and the first pitch at the top of the second inning, Jose Ramos laces to left field. We got the first hit of this ball game as Panama opens with a knock in the second.
Jose Ramos wasted no time right here, jumping on his hitter, middle of the plate.
He's so demonstrative. Every time he gets his team a good offensive showing, even if it's not a hit. Jose Ramos, and we talked about his bat flip in Panama City a couple of years ago when he crushed a ball to left and flipped his bat to the moon. He is just one of those energy guys, and right in the middle of the lineup tonight, hitting in the cleanup spot and off with the first pitch. He's going to have to return as this one flared down the first base line, and a really nice job over at first by Emmanuel Rivera.
Yeah, Tyler, one thing though, I mean, Jose Ramos being aggressive and then Camargo swinging at that first pitch. One thing though, when you got a young Eduardo Rivera on the mound, I saw this finishing off that first inning. Bernal had a 3-0 count. You have to force him into the strike zone, because what happens for a young pitcher who's 22 years old, has probably got the nerves going crazy. You want to put him on the ropes a little bit. You got to get him in these situations where he's going to go 2-0, 2-1 and cough up heaters middle of the plate. Plus, on top of that too, you probably haven't seen him. Maybe seen him once or twice.
Yeah, a lot of early count aggressive swings on both sides.
Right. So you want to get that good look, put him on the ropes, back him into a corner, and do some damage.
So here's Johnny Santos, a near 800 OPS last season with the Saraperos de Saltillo in the Mexican League. Santos 0 for 1 with a strikeout last night. Look at the numbers that Eduardo Rivera put up with a team that calls this ballpark home, like Andrejos de Santurce. 19 strikeouts and 4 walks in 15 innings in the Puerto Rican Winter League. And this is a guy who started a game in the Caribbean Series 2 seasons ago. He's only 22 years old right now, and got the nod in 2025 as a 21-year-old to pitch in the Caribbean Series. And the Caribbean Series, I mean, you are thrown into a boiling pot.
Right.
Pitching in the emotion and in the atmospheres in the Caribbean Series. So the composure obviously is something that really impresses Yadier Molina and his team as he freezes Santos there for a called strike 3.
And that's that sharp slider right there. It's going to be 88 to 90. Not a whole lot of movement. You can see Santos just getting backed up. It's a good pitch.
So 2 gone. Ramos waiting at first after his leadoff single, and that'll bring up Jonathan Arauz, who was inserted into the game yesterday late as a pinch hitter, and he flares this one out to short, and on the run, Darrell Leonez is there, and that'll do it for the top of the second. Going to the bottom of 2, no score in San Juan. There is certainly no more towering figure in Puerto Rican baseball history, and arguably in Puerto Rican history and culture at all, than Roberto Clemente, a 2-time World Series champion, Hall of Famer posthumously in 1973, a National League Most Valuable Player, and a guy who is honored all over this island. That mural is down on the concourse here at Iran Bithorn Stadium, and it honors all of the Hall of Fame inductees and some presumptive Hall of Fame inductees.
Yadier Molina. Ball action.
They're already writing that in pen. 2028 for the manager of this Puerto Rico squad. But Roberto Clemente, there's a Coliseum, an arena next door named for him. There's a statue of him outside of it. There are statues of Clemente all over San Juan, all over the island of Puerto Rico. There's a baseball stadium named after him. There are streets named after him. There are apartment complexes named after him. Roberto Clemente, if you want to know a legacy to leave as an athlete or as a public figure, there is no one better to aspire to emulate than the late Roberto Clemente, who tallied his 3,000th career hit as the final hit in his life in 1972. Passed away in a plane crash on New Year's Eve '72 while flying to deliver aid to earthquake victims in Nicaragua. Just one of the most fascinating and incredible people in the history of baseball. And, by the way, one of the best baseball reference rabbit holes. You know the really good baseball reference pages that you can just get sucked into? Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, Roberto Clemente. If you're looking for a day, as Carlos Cortez skies one down the left field line, long run of a foul ground. Great effort from Johnny Santos. That thing just kept tailing. But if you're looking for a day, you're hanging around, it's raining outside, whatever you think, all right, I've been looking at Tony Gwynn's for the last 3 hours. Check out Roberto Clemente's baseball reference.
Carl, you know I have 2 kids at home, brother. I don't have time to be looking.
Yeah, you don't have any time. You don't have any time.
But I know what you're saying. You get on that baseball reference and you start seeing all the everything in bold, and you just see this ginormous career, and you're like, wow.
And then you look up and you go, it's 3:45 in the morning? Yeah. I've been looking at Roberto Clemente's page since dinner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jurado deals a rope to Carlos Cortez, and the leadoff man singles for the home team the same way he did for the visitors in the 2nd inning.
I tell you what, Carlos Cortez, he's with the Athletics now, but it's been a long journey for him. 7 years it's taken him, or 6.5 rather, to get to the big leagues. Tore it up last year, 322 batting average, over 1,000 OPS in Las Vegas. Got a chance to play with the Athletics last year, and he's late 20s, but man, he could be an absolute force in the big leagues.
So that'll bring in Darell Hernandez. That is the first hit for Puerto Rico outside of the 5th inning last night. They had 5 runs on 5 hits in the 5th. They had 3 walks in the 7th, didn't bring anybody else around, and didn't put anybody else on base. They were retired 3 up, 3 down in every other inning. There's 7 other offensive digs at the plate. Pitch to Hernandez is ball 1. Fans starting to get into it as Jurado works on a 1-0 count. Ariel Jurado, in case you're wondering, there is a pitch clock in the Korean Baseball Organization, the KBO, where he pitches. Is a long run. This ball trailing down the right field line, and at the last second, the catch made out in right. And just happening to notice that that is a change in right field for Panama, as no, check that, never mind, all set, everybody's good. I have the early lineup still written out defensively, so that's Luis Castillo who makes the grab. Again, Alan Cordoba out of this game with shoulder soreness, as that'll bring up Eddie Rosario. Talk about a fan favorite. Eddie Rosario, every time he comes to the plate, when he is announced in pregame introductions, that Eddie chant starts. A 4-time World Baseball Classic participant, and a guy who looks good with a blonde beard.
Yeah, he does. Pulls that off nicely. He had a big night last night. That knock into right field. He was in straight pull mode all night.
1 for 2 with an RBI, couple of walks. Left-handed hitter out of the 6th spot tonight for his squad. Burns in there for a strike.
Nice pitch clip at the top of the strike zone.
Two and one on Rosario. Goes after the 2-1, bounces it to second. Arauz will go to the bag there for one, and the return throw from Caballero is in time to get Rosario. Nicely spun at the bag. The double play ends things in the second. We'll go to the third, scoreless. Spent a bit of time last inning talking about some of the Hall of Famers who have hailed from this island, Puerto Rico. These are just the guys on the coaching staff for Puerto Rico. Alex Cintron, Jose Rosado, Edgar Martinez, Juan Gonzalez, Sandy Alomar Jr., and Joey Cora, who still has wheels, by the way. Joey Cora sprinted up the third baseline to get to his third base coach's box last half inning. That guy would beat me in a foot race any day.
And it's cool to sit up here, man, and just during batting practice or when they're having their workout in the afternoon, just to watch some of these coaches and with the players too. You can just see them. You can't hear what they're saying because we're all the way up here, but just talking, hitting. We saw Carlos Beltran and Edgar Martinez. You know, and you can see them. They're going through their swings and talking, hitting. You just, man, I'd love to be, standing around the cage, especially if I'm a young hitter, whether you're on this Puerto Rican team or any team. Listen to that conversation. There he is.
Edgar Martinez, Christian Bethencourt, the leadoff man for Panama, has gone on strikes.
And you can see Rivera starting to get nice and settled. All those jitters, I'm sure they've been built up probably yesterday and today. Thinking about this game, now all of a sudden you can settle in. You go back to last inning too, this Panamanian team, 3 of the 4 hitters swinging at the first pitch, a couple of them outs. You make it easy on the guy you're facing, especially when you don't want him to settle in. You're doing him favors right there if you start swinging and getting really aggressive.
Yeah, Jurado and Rivera both really efficient here in the early going. Rivera not even at 25 pitches as he works here with 1 out in the top half of the third. Ryan, there are few people better suited to speak on this than you. Edgar Martinez last season joins the Mariners and becomes the director of hitting, and I mean that bore immediate results. I think so often as casual fans, you think, all right, well, how much is a hitting coach really going to do? How much is a director of hitting really going to do? But, I mean, a switch flipped with that Mariners offense, and that's what Puerto Rico's kind of hoping for.
Yeah, we'll put it this way, and you're going back to 2024, there's Edgar, but all right, Julio Rodriguez, right? He's always been a slow starter for that Mariners team. He's a superstar, and he's just so athletically gifted. We're seeing him with the Dominican team, some of the highlights already. But midway through 2024, Edgar Martinez stepped in when Dan Wilson took over. And it was just the simple fact, the simple art of hitting, some of the conversations, the messages that he can translate that is outside of the typical, the data behind it, or, some of the 5 different voices.
Just had a pitch timer violation on the hitter Luis Castillo, so that goes as a strikeout for Rivera. Came on a 2-strike count.
How about that?
And now Jose Caballero in the on-deck circle is shouting with Laz Diaz, the home plate umpire. That'll go as the 3rd strikeout. You talk about helping a guy out.
Yeah, absolutely. They've done plenty of that the last couple of innings, but again, just the impact he made for Julio Rodriguez and just the simple art of hitting, some of the human conversations that he had. Julio speaks about it still as we got through 2025, and that also seeped into what he did. You mentioned in 2025 when he came on, more of a full-time. But man, it makes such an impact. Talking to a guy who's done it, and it's not that, today's game, we're so inundated with some of the data and the analytics with hitting. When you listen to him speak hitting, man, you're going to listen.
There he is, one of the Hall of Famers hailing from Puerto Rico. He was actually born in New York, but he was raised here on the island. Which just misses there from Rivera.
And Edgar, you go back and hear about his story too. He was so overlooked. It wasn't someone who was this giant prospect and then, finally got a chance to play professionally. And he's way to the big leagues, and the rest is history.
By the way, the only guy that we are missing is we'll get a mound visit here from Christian Vasquez.
And by the way, real quick, you saw that pitch clock running out too. We've had a few issues here with this pitch clock. You see Vasquez quickly throw his arms up, go for that mound visit before that clock ticked down to 0.
That's a veteran guy. That's a really good point because with a young pitcher on the mound, and Rivera has worked with Vasquez in winter ball. So Vasquez very mindful of obviously how Rivera likes to work. And pops up, uses one of those mound visits, saves a potential ball in this count. I mean, that would have made it a 3-ball count. That's a brilliant move by Vasquez. And comes back, misses the strike zone there, makes it 3-1. But the only guy we're missing from arguably the greatest moment in Seattle baseball history is Ken Griffey Jr., because Edgar Martinez on this staff drove in Joey Cora as the first run and the eventual walk-off win over the New York Yankees in the 1995 American League Division Series.
That's right.
And Ken Griffey Jr. has been hanging out with Dusty Baker in Nicaragua. He's an ambassador for the World Baseball Classic here in 2026. We got to get Junior here to hang out.
Talk about that moment, that double he hit down the left field line, which saved baseball in Seattle.
Yeah. Dave Niehaus, one of the great calls in the history of baseball radio. Edgar Martinez not only grew up here on the island, but he actually grew up in Dorado, which is the same hometown as the manager of this squad, Yadier Molina. Foul ball there by Caballero. But the experience and the talent that Yadier Molina gets to, I mean, he's got enough on his own right, but the guys that he can lean on with his coaching staff, it is incredible. 3-2, waved at and missed. Caballero is gone, and Rivera, in an unorthodox way, strikes out the side here in the third. We'll go to the bottom of 3 with no score at San Juan.
Tyler, I've got to go back to that last inning when Rivera punched out that last 2. Look at Yadier Molina right here, looking at Vasquez. Let's go changeup. That's a universal sign for changeup. And what does he do? Throw a changeup, punches him out. I guess, you just can't cut the cord, Tyler. I love it.
Man, that is fantastic. And how cool, too, for not only for Rivera, but for Molina as well. A guy that Molina has known since he was a kid. And now working together on the biggest stage in international baseball here in the World Baseball Classic. Not many better guys to learn from.
Sometimes I think, too, and when we've talked about,
Shot right field side, that's a base hit. Emmanuel Rivera leads off with extra bases as he digs around first, heads for second, and he's in there sliding safely with a leadoff double.
Now, Emmanuel Rivera gets his pitch down and away. So that's that ball. Trickles past the first baseman. Now all of a sudden, Puerto Rico's in business. But just to finish off that thought about Yadi, sometimes I think we've talked about, at some point he's going to be managing in the big leagues, right? I mean, everything points towards that happening. But sometimes I wonder if he's sitting there watching games, wanting to call pitches, getting frustrated when he sees a pitch, someone get thrown down and thinking, what are you doing? Now, I've never heard a pitcher who's worked with Yadier Molina ever say, man, didn't like it. They all love it. They speak volumes about how he changes the game for them on the mound.
Christian Vasquez, the veteran catcher, squaring around a bunt and trying to advance Rivera. Rivera, the first runner on either side to make it past first base tonight. As Rado deals, and Vasquez does get it down, but a triple foul. One interesting thing about these artificial turf fields that we see around the world now, there are not a whole lot of chances for a bunt to hit something weird and stay fair. As you look at Yadier Molina's managerial profile, this is his 6th World Baseball Classic in total. Played the first 4. Only member of this program from this island to be part of all 6 of them. Puerto Rico having success not just at this senior level. They played for a World Championship at the U23 Baseball World Cup in China back at the end of 2024 as that one goes foul.
You can see Bethencourt got a shot at him at first base, playing way in, forcing Christian Vasquez to have to get that ball on the left side of the infield. And you can see Bethencourt charging in hard right there. Hasn't played a whole lot of first base either. Obviously, he's a catcher, but they've had a few decisions to make behind the dish. He played 37 games at first.
.65 games with the Twins last season. 189 hitter, a 545 OPS. The Bayamon native takes the 1-2 up and in. 2023 Classic, Vasquez 5 for 15. He homered off of Johnny Cueto and his team's monster win over the Dominican Republic. 5-2 was the final in that one. Trying to hold up there and unable to do so. He's gone on strikes for the first out of the third inning.
He's a huge out for Gerardo in this Panamanian team. You have a situation with Christian Vasquez down the bottom of the lineup. Not known for his offense of late, that's for sure. Tries to lay a bunt down, gets the 2 strikes. And runner stays put.
So that'll send it to the 9 spot and Brian Torres. St. Louis Cardinals farmhand. 104 games in the Cardinals system last year, and OPS over 900.
Diaz. Brian Torres called time. Sure will.
Conversation still going on between those two as the pitch clock runs. Now everybody's ready to go. Gerardo deals. In there for a strike. Talking about Ariel Gerardo and the pitch clock that he works with in Korea. They are actually going to shave 2 seconds off the pitch clock in Korea in this 2026 season. It'll be 18 seconds with the bases empty, 23 seconds with runners on. So we'll put more leeway there last year. Brian Torres, a guy who played his way through indie ball to reach a deal with the St. Louis Cardinals. Coming out of the American Association, where he was the MVP in 2023. Won the batting title in 2022 and 2023. He was also the MVP of the Winter League here in Puerto Rico in 2024, and then won a Texas League batting title in affiliated ball. They'll go down swinging here. So back-to-back Ks after the leadoff double, and Gerardo 1 out away from getting out of it in the third.
Well, he's had to make some big pitches these last couple of innings. Obviously, with Vasquez helping him out, not getting that bunt down. I think this is the difference, too. We talked about his time in the big leagues with the Texas Rangers and then getting traded over to the Mets. Goes off and plays in Korea for 3 years. A lot of times, that's where you really find yourself. You go to a place where you, all of a sudden, you get comfortable. You have a little bit more of that job security, like he's had. You can get to work. You know, situations like this, when the runs in scoring position, it starts to get loud. And you get plenty of that experiences, you know, Tyler, over in Korea, it gets loud. You're playing with different elements. But this is huge. Now all of a sudden you got that open base, top of the lineup, 2 out. See Bethencourt, the catcher, going over to have that mound visit, just slowing him down a little bit, making sure he makes some pitches right here.
You know where all that power comes from for Ariel Gerardo?
That's right.
The baseball pocket.
That's right.
And that's according to his manager, Jinman Park, who said the midsection of the big fellas, 6'2", 240, that's where his power comes from. Korean fans call that the baseball pocket. In case you're just joining us, there's his 33-year-old skipper, Jose Mayorga, in this Panama national team. 1-0 pitch, lifted in the air to center field. Ramos has a beat on it immediately, staring high into the San Juan sky, there to put it away and retire the side. The leadoff damage does no damage. Leadoff double does no damage. We'll go to the 4th, all scoreless.
It's going to be a lot of fun tonight, the festivities. Let's get it started.
And Panama breaking this thing open in the 4th with a 4-0 lead. Oh, he collides with Ramos, and he hangs on out in right center. The first win for Panama in the history of the World Baseball Classic.
3 years ago, Panama put 12 runs on the board against host Chinese Taipei in a first ever victory in the Classic out in Pool A, which became known as the Pool of Chaos. Everybody finished 2-2, all 5 of our teams. The offense has yet to arrive here in Puerto Rico. 12 innings at the plate, just 1 run scored. They only had 3 hits yesterday. They've got 1 tonight. They haven't moved anybody past first base. Haven't gotten any base runners on outside of that. We know that the offensive ability is there for this Panama team, but they're struggling to find a rhythm early on, right?
Yeah, they really are. And again, we talked about some of the aggressiveness. And these are the counts, right, where Rivera, look, he's been good, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from him, but Jose Caballero basically saying, if it ain't in the strike zone, we're taking. And that's where we've seen that a lot these first couple of innings. That's why that pitch count's 36. But
there it is. That's the first walk of the night. We have not seen a lot of deep counts, and Mundo Sosa takes 4 out of the zone and leadoff base on balls for Panama's offense. Well, between innings, a very animated Jose Caballero talking with a member of his coaching staff.
And that's where that pressure starts to settle in, right? Day 2, you had nothing going offensively, 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, night number 1. And you start to feel a little bit, especially too when you're looking around at some of your teammates not having these good at-bats. You get frustrated when they start to chase pitches outside the strike zone.
Caballero is one of the 3 strikeouts last inning against the lefty Eduardo Rivera. Rivera, the number 26 ranked prospect in the Boston Red Sox organization, spent last season a couple of stops in the Red Sox system. He was with High A Greenville and then with Double A Portland. Hadlock Field in beautiful Portland, Maine. 1-1 pitch waved after a miss there by Leo Bernal.
And that's tough too. There's plenty of extension there. Obviously 6'7", 230 plus pounds. Mid-90s fastball. He's got that good changeup. We saw that punch out to end the last inning. Doesn't slow up that arm at all. It's a tough look.
1-2. Bernal pops one down the right field line. Long run out there. That was a tough play for Emmanuel Rivera. Rivera made a play on a similar flare that direction for the first out of the second inning. That one way further down the line. Good effort. But it drops in, and Bernal will live to fight for another pitch.
Yeah, at first he felt like he kind of gave up on this. And he's like, hold on a minute. It's in striking distance.
Rivera looking to finish him off. And time called by the hitter Bernal.
There's been a few issues here with it when you're talking pitch clock. You saw him right. You saw a home plate umpire, as Diaz, talking about he's got to make eye contact with you. You can see Bernal not looking. There he goes. He looks up at the pitcher. They have to make eye contact before you come set.
Rivera deals and pops up Bernal. Long run with the wind still gusting in, and trouble on the right side. What an adjustment by Willie Castro to make the play. The wind has been a pronounced factor the first 2 days here in San Juan, and Castro actually overran that, had to get back to it, but a nice play.
Yeah, you can tell right away. We can feel that breeze coming straight into our face. Picking up, realizing that's going to be in play. Good adjustment, calling everyone off, staying with it.
So 1 out, and here is Ramos, that distinctive straight-up stance and that whippy bat action. And Manny wanted that pitch.
Yeah, you can see some of the pressing there, right? You can see from some of the non-verbals coming out of these hitters. We saw Caballero in the dugout. Jose Ramos after that pitch. You feel like you're seeing this ball pretty well in the middle of the strike zone. Getting frustrated because there's just nothing doing offensively.
Another big hack and miss. Some action right now in the Puerto Rico bullpen. There is Jorge Lopez, the veteran, throwing. It has been a good start to this game for Eduardo Rivera, but the 33-year-old getting started in that bullpen. Again, the hard limit pitch count, not hard limit. You can exceed it in order to wrap up an at bat. But 65 pitches here in the opening round. It's a ground ball left side. Diving stab by Arenado to second for one. On to first, not in time to get Ramos. Great play. Vintage Nolan yet again had the outstanding basket catch and foul ground over his shoulder yesterday, and the diving grab gets the lead runner here in the fourth.
Yeah, we talked about the 10 gold gloves for Nolan Arenado. As he's getting a little later in his career, can still go to his left and make that play. Look at that little short arm throw too, just still so much in that arm where he can get that throw off. He's talked about so many times he loves taking ground balls. Like, usually it's a bit of a burden, right? You get out there in the afternoons, like, all right. Perry Hill, the infield coach for the Seattle Mariners, talks about some of the work ethic from some of these guys, but sometimes it can be monotonous every single day. But Nolan Arenado talked about that. He said he loves taking ground balls, but he's had to back off a little bit the last couple of years as he's gotten a little bit older.
There's a sequence.
So good down there in the hot corner.
There's a sequence in that documentary series, The Last Dance, several years ago, in which Dennis Rodman talked about rebounding basketballs and the way he learned how to rebound basketballs. That, I feel like, is Nolan Arenado with ground balls.
Yeah, that's a great comp.
Just an obsessive, detailed, almost a mad scientist genius with how he fields at third. One of the greatest players I've ever seen. One of the greatest players to ever play that position. And now he has crazy blonde hair, so the Dennis Rodman comp works
there you go.
In many ways. He's got the Team Rubio look rocking here, honoring his mom's side of the family, playing for Puerto Rico in 2026. 1-1. Big hack and miss from Camargo, 1-2.
This was the play last night, and especially playing in a place that you're not familiar with, Ryan, this is such a difficult play.
Yeah, it is, right? And you're getting full speed. You just kind of slow up, cut your steps down. Look at that little basket catch. And it looks so easy.
And you could tell he was bracing for impact, too. When that ball landed, he felt he was going to run into that wall, had a little bit extra space. Ball and 2 strikes here on Camargo. Already 4 strikeouts for Rivera. The kick and the pitch. Call it 5. Eduardo Rivera starring in the early going in front of his home crowd. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning in a scoreless ball game at Iran Bithorn Stadium. What a beautiful night in San Juan, Puerto Rico, as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Night number 2 of the 2026 World Baseball Classic. First pitch swinging, a drive out to right field off the bat of Elliot Ramos, and at the wall, Luis Castillo is there to make the grab. You saw the highlights from that win for Panama over Chinese Taipei in 2023. Luis Castillo collided with Jose Ramos in a highlight reel grab on the warning track at Taichung Intercontinental Baseball Stadium. Here, just collides with the padded wall, but man, great job tracking that one down, 1 out in the 4th.
Nice grab. You see Elliot Ramos nearly went right center, deep off a breaking ball, this time to right field. Showing some of that oppo pop. Just missing.
So the leadoff man retired, and that'll bring up Nolan Arenado. Last season, an injury-riddled campaign for Nolan, trying to get back to his Hall of Fame form with the Arizona Diamondbacks this year. Traded away by the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, it's interesting too. He had a full no-trade clause, and it became time, right? It was the last couple off seasons where the St. Louis Cardinals were talking to him about potentially trading him, and then he gave him a list of teams. So he came with Chaim Bloom and said, look, these are some of the teams I'm interested in.
Nolan with a drive. Deep out to right. Back on this one goes Castillo, and an almost carbon copy catch from a moment ago. Castillo hauls that one in. 2 gone in the 4th.
And he is owning this right field wall right now. Great grab too. Remember, we saw some of the issues Willie Castro had with this wind down at second base. You know that wind is wreaking havoc as well. So staying with some of these balls over your head, but no warning track, essentially. Great grab.
That's the second ball that Nolan Arenado has mashed in the last 2 nights and has been retired at the track.
Yeah, you feel like that some of that power's coming back, right? In the last couple of years. Just a few seasons removed from 30-plus home runs for Nolan Arenado. Hit that ball in the left field last night and to the track tonight. He was hitting good in spring training too down in Talking Stick with the Arizona Diamondbacks. But the D-backs were one team that were interested in getting Nolan Arenado, taking him on. And he said yes. Obviously living in Arizona now, he's an OC guy, so it's a short drive out to Orange County for him. Place where he just wants to get some of that resurrection back where he was just a couple years ago.
Got to be a little bit strange for him being on the other side of that Talking Stick complex. He spent so much time at the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, well, he said when he drove in, he went to his typical coffee shop, and he said he knew what side to get on, but he said he did do a long lap. He went past the Rockies entrance.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 gone.
This was that play in Taichung 3 years ago in which Castillo and Ramos collided on the warning track, and Castillo made that grab. The same outfield alignment as we have tonight with Ramos in center and Castillo in right. The umpires actually had to get together to confer following that play, but both guys stayed in that game, and Panama went on to win that contest, 12-5 the final in that one.
Here's the 2-2 pitch to Carlos Cortez, and a rope over to first. Nice pick on a hop by Bethancourt. And Ariel Jurado hustling to the bag is there for the final out. And we are through 4, scoreless, going to the 5th.
I'll tell you what, Tyler, we were questioning Eduardo Rivera. He's age 22 years old, pitching the upper levels, but what about this? Gets that big punch out at the top of the strike zone, fire it up. Adrenaline pumping. Nerves are gone. No better feeling right now.
That moment is the World Baseball Classic. That reaction, that fan reaction, the crowd pop, that's a strikeout in the 4th inning of a game in March. And that's what this event is all about, as Rivera's back out there for the start of the 5th.
And you look at the mound presence too, right? From inning number 1 until now. You just see some of those non-verbals I always talk about when you're watching someone settle in. Just take complete control of this game.
Leadoff man for Panama here in the 5th inning is Johnny Santos. Santos, Jonathan Arauz, and Christian Bethancourt, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters, will bat here in the 5th as Panama, much like Puerto Rico, trying to get something going offensively. I feel like we've said that about everybody who is not Canada, essentially, so far in this event, as a foul pop turns into out number 1. Santos retired on the fly out to Rivera.
I'm still trying to figure this out, man. How do you, if you're the Athletics, someone can hit me up. How do you let go of someone in their early 20s, 6'7", pumping mid-90s from the left side with that really good changeup, that vertical slider? I don't understand how you let someone like this leave your organization.
Had some injuries and some control issues with the A's, but yeah, I mean, the Red Sox, this is...
But you got to give it a little bit more of a leash, right? I get it, man. If he's 6 foot and he's throwing 87.
Especially he wasn't a college guy. He came out of high school. You've given him up. He's still only 22.
Right.
So you can't even really call it a reclamation process of any kind. The Red Sox just saw a guy, with an imposing frame, good stuff, and thought, why are we not? And he's left-handed. Why are we not going to give this guy a shot?
I tell you what, this could be a launching pad for his career right now, too. Pitching the WBC, he faces Panama. Some names, some guys who are established major leaguers. If Puerto Rico are able to go on out of pool play, he gets to match up against some star-studded lineups. Maybe a Team USA or a Dominican. Punches a few tickets. Man, it can be a launching pad for his career coming out of spring training.
And being able to pitch in an environment like this and feed off of this energy. As the 2-1 is inside. Oh, that actually got Arauz in the left arm. So he is aboard with a hit by pitch, and Yadier Molina asking for Laz Diaz to wait to confirm that that was, in fact, a hit batsman. And I'll be honest, on that replay, I'm not sure it was.
Well, they're going to play on here, but you'll take it if you're Panama, right? Just trying to get anything going. You'll see Yadier Molina. This will be it for Rivera.
Appears to be the end of the night for Eduardo Rivera, with the veteran Jorge Lopez throwing in the bullpen down the right field line for Puerto Rico. Yadier Molina out to get the ball from a guy he has known since his childhood days. And what a night for Eduardo Rivera. He was going to walk off this mound to a tremendously well-deserved ovation from the nearly 20,000 here at Iran Bithorn Stadium. New arm into the game for Puerto Rico here in the top half of the fifth inning is the 10-year big league veteran Jorge Lopez, who takes over from Eduardo Rivera after brilliant work by the 22-year-old. You look at Lopez's numbers from last season with the Washington Nationals, not the greatest of ERAs or peripherals, but Lopez at 33, a free agent, maybe an audition here in his home ballpark.
They're trying to bounce back. Some of the time he's had in the big leagues. Of course, was famous for that ejection with the Mets.
Lopez coming off a winter ball campaign with Mayaguez in this season. 12 appearances, made 5 starts. He's from Caguas originally and has pitched in some big World Baseball Classic moments for this Puerto Rico squad. Worked in the 2023 Classic in 3 games, also the 2017. Pitched in the semifinal. Serves one up to Christian Bethancourt, who blasts one out to center field. This one is over the head of Torres and off the wall. Rounding third base, here comes Arauz. He will score as the ball's fumbled in the outfield. Bethancourt racing for third, and he's in there safely, and Panama has the lead 1-0 here in the top half of the fifth.
Well, Bethancourt playing over at first base. We've seen him behind the dish, plenty in the big leagues, and he was off to that slow start in 2023, Tyler, that we watched over in Taiwan. But man, comes up big here against a new pitcher, and you see Torres, a little bit of a break here. First of all, run would have scored easy, but able to let Bethancourt get into third base with just a 1 out. And all of a sudden, Panama comes alive.
Depending on how that goes scored, that would be Christian Bethancourt's first triple since 2021 with AAA Indianapolis in the Pirates organization. He never tripled at the major league level. Man, he got off a good swing here. That was loud contact.
Yeah, let those hands get extended, let that ball get just a little deeper. And we know what the wind's been doing, right? So this is probably that best spot that when you're talking that right center gap up against that wind. You can see Brian Torres just, he's off the ball just long enough for Bethancourt to get around to third base, just the 1 out.
Jose Rosado Jr., the pitching coach for Puerto Rico, out to talk with Jorge Lopez. So that'll close the book on Rivera, charged with a run on a hit over his 4 1/3, 5 strikeouts and 1 walk. And while we have a minute, we owe a shout out to some World Baseball Classic royalty tuned in as you get a look at Ricardo Velez throwing in the right field corner bullpen. Adam Jones, the author of the most legendary moment in World Baseball Classic history, his home run robbery of Manny Machado in San Diego back in 2017. Adam Jones sent a text. He's tuned in Tokyo. He's been taking in games. He was out in the cheering section at the Tokyo Dome during the Samurai Japan game yesterday. And tuned in as this ball is roped down the right field line. This is trouble in extra bases as it touches down off the bat of Castillo. In easily, and it's Bethancourt, a triple, then a double, and Panama's offense has arrived here in the fifth.
I'll tell you what, all of a sudden they had a tough lefty yesterday, Levan Moinella. They had Eduardo Rivera, who's blowing 96 at the top of the strike zone, punching tickets, five strikeouts. Now all of a sudden, they get a weak link in this bullpen. Lopez leaving balls out over the middle of the plate. And this Team Panama offense all of a sudden has gotten real comfortable, some good swings off, and they're in business here in the 5th inning.
Their last 3 hitters have combined to outscore this entire team's previous 13 innings of offensive output. And Jorge Lopez trying to find it here in the 5th. Deals the first pitch strike into Jose Caballero back at the top of the order. Christian Betancourt feeling good after the triple. It's been a while since Christian Betancourt has had to leg out a triple. There is now an error up on the board. So that did go as a double and an error as a grounder out to short, and they've got the lead runner hung up. So Castillo in the middle of the rundown is tagged out, but what base running by Caballero behind him to dive in safely at second base. On a routine grounder, Caballero finds himself in scoring position now, and those are the types of plays that steal your runs.
Right, and you can see right here, look, Castillo's in a position where he has to get into a rundown so Caballero has the time to get to second base. So Caballero's looking at that going, all right, he's going to hold up this rundown. I'm going to come around first and look at him. The whole way around he's watching, and he's thinking, all right, I'm going to get into second base. But man, that was dicey, but it paid off.
Pitching change for Puerto Rico, 2-0, Panama leads. Second reliever of the inning onto the pitcher's mound for Puerto Rico. Things did not go as planned for Jorge Lopez, and some frustration for him.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating, right? You're a free agent. You mentioned the fact he's trying to audition.
Yeah.
And you come out just like that after all that magic from the young Eduardo Rivera, all that energy in this building, all those good vibes quickly go away as Panama take a 2-run lead as we see Ricardo Velez try and pick up the pieces.
Ricardo in the Texas Rangers organization deals his first pitch into Edmundo Sosa for a strike. Last year was with the St. Louis Cardinals and won a Texas League title. He was the Springfield Cardinals reliever of the year, but a free agent, signed a minor league deal with Texas in January.
He dominated last year, 1.8 ERA.
And here he plunks Edmundo Sosa.
And Puerto Rico just trying to figure it out with this bullpen. Panama's loving the fact they got that lefty out there. We've said this a few times now. You got Levant Moinello with that breaking ball, that fastball combination you have to deal with yesterday on day 1. So you see Edmundo Sosa just kind of lean into this, put that elbow guard into it. And you had Rivera.
And that is a 1,000-yard stare for Jorge Lopez, who's a pretty lonely guy in that first base dugout right now. He is tasked with Caballero at second. And look at this offense tonight for Panama. There's some 5th inning magic in these night games, I guess, for the visiting team. Last night, 5 runs on 5 hits for Puerto Rico. Tonight, Panama threatening with 2 already home, and a bouncer over to first. Rivera takes it to the bag and snuffs out the remainder of the 5th. But 2 runs home for Panama, and tonight's visitors are onto the board first. A 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of 5 in San Juan.
Tyler, we talk so highly about Eduardo Rivera, and for good reason. Man, he was dominant. He had that overpowering fastball. You see the 4 strikeouts right here. The one with, the couple with the changeup, a couple with the fastball. He was 70% with that fastball tonight. So dominant, and again, he was the biggest question mark for Yadier Molina as to what he was going to get from his 22-year-old starter.
Really impressive stuff from the Red Sox prospect Rivera. Unfortunately for him, he and his team are on the wrong side of this score right now, and we got a broken bat flare and another base hit for Jose Ramos, who has been aboard all 3 times he's been to the plate tonight, as Ramos has a leadoff single in the 6th. We've gotten to see him a lot. I like watching Jose Ramos. He's fun to watch hit.
Right, I was just about to say, I remember we went down and covered that qualifier in Panama in 2022, and he just absolutely went off.
And he's such an energy guy. He's a guy who his teammates, you can tell, gravitate toward. Is now a bouncing ball right side. Great pick on the backhand by Rivera. 3-6-1. Oh, safe at first. Camargo beats it out. And immediately Velez says, nope, I think I had him. And Puerto Rico will take a look. Man, you know it better than anybody how tough that is to execute a 3-6-1 double play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and look, this is the time. If you're going to get one, get it early in the year. And the reason I say that is because you're fresh out of spring training where you've been doing rep after rep. If you get one of these in August and September, you can embarrass yourself, let me tell you. Because you haven't been doing those PFPs during the regular season.
Ramos out of the baseline there as well.
And you know what? If you don't get over there to cover, then you're going to cost everyone. We're talking dog days of August. Hey, guess what? Be here at 2 p.m. The whole team's doing PFPs.
Like,
not,
sorry,
fellas.
Not that you know from experience at all.
Trust me, I've cost some pitching staffs at PFPs middle of the season, let me tell you.
Puerto Rico will elect to not challenge that play. So it'll be a runner at first with one gone now. But man, that was a beautifully executed attempt at the 3-6-1. And that one's into the dirt outside. Work going on in the Puerto Rico bullpen right now. And that is the right-hander Luis Quiñones throwing for his squad. We'll see if he's the next man in. And Velez falters here in the 6th.
Well, I did rank Puerto Rico's pitching staff. I get it. Look, it's only day 2. I did rank them #1 because of some of these bullpen options. But last time we got a chance with a 5-run lead against Colombia. We saw that back end with, especially with Edwin Diaz coming in that 9th inning. And trying to bridge the gap tonight. It's been a struggle. Jorge Lopez. Valdez. Trying to get to that. These guys at the back end of that bullpen.
Velez coming off a really good season for the Carolina Giants in the Puerto Rican Winter League. 20 innings of work, a 0.90 ERA with 20 strikeouts and 5 walks. And a pitch for a strike there. I could hear the smile in your, I wasn't even looking at you. I could hear the smile in your voice talking about your rankings. You've done pretty well with the rankings so far, I gotta say. They've been pretty spot on.
I was really nervous. Yeah, it goes. I mean,
pretty good.
Especially after our time 2023, and we had that pool of chaos. Everyone went 2-2, so I was nervous, man. I had to step it up. And 1 through 5 was tough.
2-2 swing and a foul tip at the plate, but Santos unable to get enough. A little while ago, a ceremonial first pitch here at Iran Bithorn Stadium featuring young Miko, who is one of the artists featured in the first ever official playlist of the World Baseball Classic. We've been hearing her
I'll hop down the mound.
Song MVP. It was a good toss. She got a great ovation. Got to throw it to Kike Hernandez, who is here supporting his team, even though he's not on the active roster.
It's like, yeah, hold on a second. He's not in the active roster.
He's just hanging out. It's like a little, you know, it's the baseball Forrest Gump this week.
Right.
Just gets to hang out and have fun, be in the background of shots, be an energy guy in that dugout. That's pretty cool.
Like, kudos to the Dodgers to be like, yeah, off you go.
Yeah.
Go have a good time.
They've
signed a deal back with them, coming back from what the injuries coming back from.
They've got options. Swinging a grounder over to first. That on a line, actually. Roped in by Rivera. A couple of nice plays by Rivera here in the 6th. We'll go to the bottom of 6.
Hey, el case lleno de trophies, racks pa' estar cozy. Me dicen la MVP, baby, I like that. Aunque ya la jersey, la one y la only. Me bajo por la pinta, pues I like that. 2026, esto es un clásico. Migo así me olvida, eso es un clásico. Baby, go.
She throws first pitches. She drops bangers for the World Baseball Classic. Another one from young Miko. Is the second night game of Pool A. Moves into the bottom of the 6th inning. Puerto Rico last night in the 5th inning, brilliant. Outside of that, they have really struggled. Tonight, 3 base hits. One of them put a runner at second base. Manuel Rivera's leadoff double in the third. Aside from that, Puerto Rico did not get a runner past first against Ariel Jurado, who has departed this game in favor of the veteran Javi Guerra here in the sixth.
Panama going to the well early. You see Javi Guerra, who was closing games out in 2023. You see that fastball that can hit triple digits. Had a really good year last year, 30-plus innings, 2.5 ERA over in Japan. He's back stateside this year, just signed a deal with the Braves.
And a rope to right field, a leadoff base hit here in the bottom of the sixth. Torres singles and sends it back to the top of the order.
Tell you what, Torres has seen plenty of is that high velo, 97, top of the strike zone. Will sit in dead red, drives that ball into right field.
Javi Guerra coming off a couple of seasons with the Hanshin Tigers organization in Japan's Central League. Played some winter ball for Estrellas del Este in the Dominican Republic this Winter League season. A guy who originally was signed as a shortstop by the Boston Red Sox out of Panama, converted to the pitcher's mound as a swing and a miss there from Willie Castro back at the top of the order.
A really good slider too to go along with that upper 90s fastball. That's amazing, man. Those guys who transition from a position player. Kenley Jansen, a famous one. Saw him in the World Baseball Classic. Again, we talk about that high-octane fastball. By the way, one of the highest average fastballs in World Baseball Classic history. Converted from a shortstop. Can push triple digits. Fastball can be straight in the middle of the plate at times. Just tries to overpower hitters. We saw that against Torres, that last at-bat. He's got to land that slider to go with it.
Castro fouls that one. 2-2. Not only did Javi Guerra convert from being a position player to being a pitcher, his first baseman, Christian Bethencourt, did that for a time. Tried to make that transition with the San Diego Padres in 2017. Did pitch 4 big league games, as they're going to come out to check on Castro. That one still feeling that, but look at that 98 average velocity. Castro favoring that back leg right now. Foul ball didn't get him off the shin guard. How cool though for Leo Bernal to be able to chat for a moment there with Yadier Molina.
Right.
Bernal in the Cardinals organization. Molina obviously still working in a front office capacity in the Cardinals system. Thankfully Castro will stay in this game. As Diaz and Willie Castro share a laugh together.
It's a big pitch right here.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Leadoff single has Torres aboard. Guerra deals.
Man, did a good job right there. Castro just to get to that pitch. That pitch was down and in under the hands. Will Javi Guerra back himself and try and hit triple digits at the top of the strike zone here with that fastball.
These fans desperately want to erupt here in the 6th. Another foul ball by Castro as he battles.
Get that feeling, you can get that fastball at the top of the strike zone, you're going to get that swing and miss. Javi Guerra, but he keeps going back to that slider.
Jorge Lopez still feeling it over there in that first base dugout after his tough outing, but his offense is trying to come to the rescue here in the 6th. Back-to-back singles get things started. Castro to first, Torres to second, Ramos to the plate with nobody out.
Well, you could see this coming, right? Willie Castro, he was doing better and better. He was improving on the contact with that slider that was down and in. And you can see Bruno sort of showing his glove at the top of the strike zone in case that Willie Castro may have been tipped off on what pitch was coming. The Javi Guerra kept going to that slider. He went to the wall too many times. When you have a hitter who's getting a better look every pitch, you have to change eye level, and he didn't do it.
Visit to the mound here from Julio Rangel, the pitching coach for Panama. With a dangerous bat coming to the plate in the person of Heliot Ramos, searching for his first World Baseball Classic hit.
And there's no lonelier feeling, Tyler, when you feel like you've got your best stuff, right? Your velocity's good, you're getting that good bite on that slider, and you're giving up some hard contact. Think about these two hits. That fastball Cortez hit was at the top of the strike zone, got that A swing off. It wasn't a cheapie. And all of a sudden, Willie Castro in that at bat, he saw slider after slider after slider. He swung through one of them. Was able to foul a couple off, fouled that one off into his leg. And he got a pitch he could handle, drives into right field. This is a tough spot right now for Javi Guerra.
Nearly 20,000 to their feet here at Irán Bithorn Stadium. And one of the biggest bats in this lineup, without the likes of Correa, Lindor, and Baez, into the box right now with another one on deck. Heliot Ramos gets his turn, and the first pitch is ball one.
And he keeps going back to that slider too, and that's 9 of 11 for that slider from Javi Guerra.
A ball and a strike as Ramos takes to even the count. Heliot Ramos, an all-star in that 2024 season. Dancing off a second. He's trying to get that thought into Guerra's head. Torres makes him make the pick move back. Ramos trying to give his team the lead with one swing, got tied up inside.
And you know, Heliot Ramos, we've seen this a couple times in these first two games. Trying to hit that ball to that gap right there to right center field. You got to tie him up. Inner half the plate, they'll get him chasing below the strike zone.
1-2 fouled off. We'll do it again.
See that inside swing approach, especially with two strikes. Trying to keep those hands inside that ball.
Brian Torres had the second most stolen bases in the Puerto Rican Winter League this season. Dancing off of second base as Guerra tries to finish off Ramos. 1-2 pitch. And it got Ramos. And that will give him first base and load him up. And Panama wants to take a look at this. Las Diaz did not immediately signal that that was a hit by pitch.
I think you got to challenge this regardless.
Yeah.
Man. Look, I know we don't get as many looks as what you see in the big leagues, but you're hoping that maybe there's a look where it's off the knob of the bat. Oh, that looks like it's off the hand even from our angle.
Yeah, and the reaction from Ramos certainly would seem to suggest that too. Man, bad time for a hit by pitch for Javi Guerra. As the bases are loaded now. Oof.
And right idea too. We talked about trying to tie up Heliot Ramos, something up and in. He's trying to inside out that pitch. You can see Yadi Molina doing his best athletic trainer move right there, doing the handshake test. Love it. He does it all.
And here comes Nolan. Bases loaded for Arenado. His team threatening for the first time tonight.
in his third World Baseball Classic and first for Puerto Rico. And he takes ball one.
And you know he's going to be in swing mode. He is aggressive, we know that. See something out over the middle of the plate.
Guerra deals. Arenado, fly ball in the air to center. Ramos is there. Tagging at third is Torres, and he will score the first run of the night for the home team. It's 2-1.
I tell you what, look at you. Get that first run across with the crowd, something to get crazy about there. Everyone's on their feet. I tell you what, if you're Nolan Arenado with that pitch, that was a slider middle of the plate. And you can tell his reaction too, right? He got it deep enough in center field, but he knew that, man, that's a pitch that he could absolutely drive well over the center fielder's head. Drives the run in, but yeah, a little frustrated to go with it.
That'll do it for Javi Guerra. Pitching change for Panama as Puerto Rico continues to threaten in the sixth. Bases loaded, nobody out for Nolan Arenado just a moment ago. And he just missed doing something big. Still a sacrifice fly to bring in the first run of the night for Puerto Rico. But Arenado wanted more. So we move further into the sixth. Yeah, I should have had that.
Right, talking about the hinge of that pitch. Got a pitch you can handle too, that hanging slider. As you see, Kenny Hernandez had a 1-2-3 inning yesterday. Big spot right here.
First pitch there for a strike to Carlos Cortez. Last season, Ryan, Carlos Cortez up with the Athletics and really limited action in terms of these numbers, but in 33 at-bats with runners in scoring position, he had 13 hits, nearly a 400 average. And trying to deliver the tying run or more here. And instead, a bouncer to second, could be two. To the bag for one, Caballero to first, 4-6-3, and Hernandez does the job to get out of the sixth inning. Terrific work by Kenny Hernandez as Panama limits Puerto Rico to 1. But we got a one-run ball game going to the seventh. Welcome back to the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Alongside former Major Leaguer and two-time Team Australia pitcher Ryan Rowland-Smith, I'm Tyler Maughan here in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and here on Bithorn Stadium for our continuing coverage of Pool A. And if you're just joining us tonight, you have missed one heck of a game to this point. 2-1 lead for Panama as we move into the seventh inning. And the first pitch of the seventh inning is bounced out to second by Christian Bethencourt. A great job on the other side of the second base bag by Willie Castro to hustle that to first. One up and one down. Coming into this inning, Bethencourt and Luis Castillo have combined to go 2 for 4, now 2 for 5. The rest of their lineup 2 for 18, but he's the first man to see Luis Quinones.
Yeah, how good it was he, and Winnable was perfect. 26 scoreless innings. See that late breaking split. Very good stuff. Part of this strong bullpen for this Puerto Rican team.
No ball, one strike count on Castillo. The bottom two guys in the order, each with doubles back in that fifth inning in which this squad put up its 2 runs. He had 26 scoreless innings, and he struck out 36 for the Mayagüez Indians. Now more disagreement with Laz Diaz as Mayorga comes out for an explanation on that foul tip. Some frustration for Castillo.
I tell you what, man, I mean, he has been front and center. Diaz.
Castillo's double in the fifth inning drove home Bethencourt after Bethencourt batted in Arauz. Listen, just upstairs there, Quinones. 2-2 pitch on the way. Foul back. Back in the 4th inning, I thought we were maybe caught in some web of the matrix as Castillo made almost identical. If the sponsor signage had been the same sign, I would have been even more weirded out. Great catches at the wall by Luis Castillo, has been terrific out there. Facing a 2-2 count here. And now gone on strikes.
As that split just kind of floated the top part of the strike zone. And Logan Allen started yesterday, Cleveland Guardians pitcher.
So 2 away quickly. We go back to the top of the order. Jose Caballero. 0 for 3 so far tonight. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th inning. Young's challenging him up. 2-0. Luis, a member of the Minnesota Twins organization. Here's how things look as we sit right now in Pool A. We got 3 1-0 teams. Cuba out of action today. They'll play again tomorrow. Colombia has dropped its first 2 games, falling today 8-2 to Canada, and Panama trying to avoid joining Colombia at the bottom of this group. That pitch way inside is ball 4. But, Ryan, 3 years ago, we saw Cuba start 0-2 in Group A in Taichung, and they ended up making it all the way not only through that opening round of the Pool of Chaos, but to the semis in Miami.
I mean, how many times did we say in those first 2 days of 2023 about Cuba? It's like, well, is this the start of the, downfall of this team? You talked about to Herman,
Mesa.
Herman Mesa,
yeah,
the golden era, and talking about all that time, and then all of a sudden they add in the major league, the current major league players to the national team. They went 0-2, and you're thinking to yourself, what is happening? We're not used to seeing Cuba do this, but all of a sudden they get 2-2. We know about that, what went down in that pool. And then went to Tokyo, and then beyond then they got to the semifinals down in Miami. It's crazy.
They looked awkward.
They really
first
did.
Couple days. They looked very uncomfortable,
right.
like the group had not yet come together. And that was a key difference when we were talking with Herman Mesa about what he was most excited about as you look at how hard this rain has started to come down here in San Juan. And his answer was quick. He said, the unity. I feel like these guys are all on the same page. And 3 years ago, I don't think that was the case the first couple days. They got it figured out. But that's what he liked. And, man, they looked really good yesterday in that win.
They did. Pitching was elite. You got 2 guys, Yariel Rodriguez, Levan Muinoa, piggybacking. They're both going to be available on that 4th day.
Muinoa trying to work his way through the 7th. Good move. Caballero back in. Puerto Rico's offense showing signs of life in the bottom of the 6th. Muinoa eyeing the final out to get his team back into the dugout for another crack at Panama's pitching staff. And a swing and a miss by Sosa. 1-1.
And you see Jose Caballero at first base bouncing around over there. You see him do that a ton. He's in a Rays uniform and then in a Yankees uniform. Be surprised if he tries to take off. You see those 119 stolen bases.
2 balls and a strike. Panama ran a lot in game 1. They don't have some of that speed in the lineup tonight with Alan Cordoba out. Just for a called strike, evens it up. But we have not really seen that tonight. They have not attempted a stolen base. Caballero has led the American League in each of the last 2 seasons. bouncing off of first. Good lead, now he goes. Pitch is inside, no, on the corner, a called strike 3, and that will do it. And I believe Laz Diaz is alleging that Edmundo Sosa was trying to lean into that pitch, and that's going to turn into the final strike and the final out of this inning. It is stretch time in San Juan. We go to the bottom of the 7th in a 1-run game. Well, the least favorite sight for anybody at a ball game, tarps going onto the field. I mean, the heavens have opened up here in San Juan. It started absolutely dumping rain. It was a light enough rain shower for about the last 10-15 minutes, but man, it just opened up here really during the inning break. So the field crew will put the tarps down here on Bithorn Stadium. If it's anything like last night, it could be the blink of an eye and we'll see this rain just kind of quit and move out. But for now, we are in a rain delay, our first of Pool A play. How about that? Big ovation for the grounds crew here on Bithorn Stadium for the fans. As somebody who has been on a handle for many a tarp pull, I very much appreciate a crowd that
I have never pulled a tarp in my life.
What?
I swear.
What kind of baseball life are you living?
I have helped out taking it off.
Okay.
I remember. I don't remember where that was.
Some minor league stop.
Yeah, somewhere back in A-ball, but no, never. I mean, I've done the tarp slide, that's for sure.
It is the grossest thing that you'll ever do in your baseball life. I do remember early on in my minor league baseball days, somebody saying you're going to want to bring your worst clothes and just leave them in the office to pull tarp in. But Ryan, this has been a fantastic game so far, as we got hype men even on the field crew.
Love it.
It's a 2-1 lead for Panama. It has been extraordinarily well pitched. We've got 9 combined hits, but a rain delay situation is an interesting one because Puerto Rico's offense seemed to be coming to life. Now they've got to go into the clubhouse and wait this thing out.
Yeah, I think, first of all, Panama's in a great spot right now as these outs start to dwindle. But it's about bridging the gap. If you can get to that back end of your bullpen, right? We're going back to Colombia and Panama in that bullpen. Do you have the depth and the pieces to make this happen where you get good counts and keep executing? I think with Puerto Rico, look, they're a run away from this thing. They can press the reset button, take a breath, come back out and just get down to business. But man, no one likes a rain delay, but in this tournament style where it's just the 4 games and you just lean so heavily on momentum, that can change things.
Well, coming up after the break, we're going to send you to some highlights, a recap of the 2023 World Baseball Classic, Samurai Japan's 2nd WBC title. We will keep you updated from here in San Juan, as hopefully this rain will abate soon. But the recap show from 2023 coming up as we are in a rain delay in San Juan.
Through the first 4 innings, facing Spencer Horwitz, Zach Levinson, and Garrett Stubbs in this 5th. Lifted out toward right center field. Pretty good charge to that one, but caught by Sanoha. Again, 6 Ks so far.
Yeah, it's been a master class. He's used his fastball at the top of the zone. He's used his slider. He's used his changeup at times as well. And early on, we saw it happening, right? It was that fastball landing for a strike, the slider hanging for a strike, and now you look at Salvi Perez saying, I can put any finger down, he's going to locate it. That's usually what you get.
Yeah, great to see that look there of the put away pitches, the distribution of the different pitch types, but also where they were. It's not like it's only the the changeup down that's getting everybody. He's all over the place to get those strikeouts.
With any pitch and any count. That's what makes it so tough. He's been down in the zone. He's been at the top of the zone. He's been on the edges.
Ball and a strike to Levinson. And that's a look at that changeup.
And Gabe Morales behind the plate. Fairly gives off at times as well.
Another strikeout. That's 7.
That sets the tie for most.
For Team Venezuela in a WBC, Freddie Garcia, King Felix, and now De Jesus with 7.
That's a nasty changeup. He's had it all night. Circle change right there. Get him get on top of it and then spin it over. Oh, that's a beautiful pitch.
He's just got everything working, and he's creeping toward that pitch limit. Next one will be number 55, but joining an elite list. And this is an important start. You see the name on the bottom of that list, Pablo Lopez, who was slated to be part of this rotation and a big part of this rotation. But another Tommy John surgery, unfortunately for Pablo Lopez, takes him out of the mix. So they've had to elevate others. And Omar Lopez certainly happy with what he's seen from De Jesus tonight.
72% of his pitches have been for a strike. Tells you where he's been.
Ground ball. And that is a fair ball down the line and toward the corner. Garrett Stubbs with the first hit, the first base runner for Team Israel, and this is going to be a stand-up triple to get their offense started.
Well, that's what they needed. A big hit, kind of breaking the ice. Gets a fastball, enter third. Rise couldn't do much with that. For a catcher who's not known for his speed, he got down the line pretty good. And he can smell it. As soon as he saw Acuna kind of not getting there on time, he said, wait a minute, I can turn it into a triple.
Yeah, it could rattle around a little bit, and that corner is just the perfect spot for triples to happen.
I think this mound visit was just letting him know, hey, this will probably be your last hitter. That bullpen is hot right now.
So he's at 56 now, 65 plus whatever it takes to finish the plate appearance for the first round. So that's what he's up against, but also you throw into the equation what they call the up downs. How many innings do you start? You get revved up, you pitch, you sit down, you go again. A lot of times at this point of the spring, guys are maybe here on March 7th at 3 or 4, generally speaking. 0-1 to Matt Mervis. Pops this one foul.
Well, he's finished a lot of the left-handers with sliders down and away. Let's see if he's got one more. Get Mervis to go fishing.
Oh, and 2. Tried the fastball and missed wide. One, 2. Bouncing ball over the mound. Tough play. No play. And a run on the board.
2 on Knox. Demoralizing. Oh, the score's 4-1, but big knock right there. For an Israeli team that struggled finally scoring runs in 2023. They get the first one in this tournament on a high chopper.
And with all the strikeouts, he had 7. You got to put the ball in play.
You got to put the ball in play. It's the only chance you have.
Now Jake Geloff. And again, it's the 5th inning. There's a lot of baseball left, but the first, 5 batters of this game, it looked like it was going to be a runaway.
Sure
and
was.
For as great as De Jesus has been, the tying run's in the on-deck circle right
That's
now.
right. How can you chip away and put as much pressure as you can for a Venezuelan team and a bullpen that's ready and fresh?
Oh, and 2. Swing and a miss. And he finishes with a flourish. 8 Ks. Could not ask for a better outing. Luis Arraez, the terrific gesture right there to give De Jesus the ball. 8 strikeouts, a new record for the Venezuelan pitcher in the World Baseball Classic. He said, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. He couldn't do any better.
Oh, man. Proud moment right there out of Valencia, Venezuela.
Just electric stuff tonight. And we mentioned Pablo Lopez not being here and some others that would have to step up. And boy, did De Jesus do that. 2 hits, a run. Those hits came at really the end of his outing.
No walks.
No walks.
That was the most impressive part. Usually as a hitter, you want to set the tone. Today, he was setting the tone for the hitters of Israel.
Eber's still out there for Team Israel. Picks up his 2nd strikeout.
I think if you're Brad Ausmus and Israel, you want to get back on the bench. Continue to put some pressure on Venezuela. Creep that score a little bit better.
Yeah, this is where you tell yourself, hey guys, we know what the backs of the baseball cards over there in that dugout. But if you were to say, hey, we're in this game in the bottom of the 5th inning, down by 3, inside of what they call slam range,
that's right,
you'd sign up for that.
Absolutely. Because outside of that 1st inning for Venezuela, they've stalled a bit offensively.
4 scoreless, 2 hits for the bullpen for Team Israel. Arise, a big part of that 4-run 1st inning, had the RBI double, moved to 3rd on an errant throw, and then scored a run. And I noted the gesture there by Arise to give the ball to De Jesus. He is a smart teammate, a great teammate, because he broke up a Dylan Cease no-hitter a few years ago, and then when they were teammates and Cease completed a no-hitter,
he gave him the ball.
He gave him the ball, and he gives this one a ride out to right. The slugging Luis Arise is at it again.
They've got so many guys, but he's the heartbeat of this Venezuelan team. Out of San Felipe, Venezuela. For a father that will put a hanging baseball off the ceiling and it will hit for hours. One of the proudest moments for himself and his family.
Sal Perez pops this one up right side. Arise, a 3-time batting champ, known way more for the contact than the slug, but he's a home run threat in the WBC. 3 homers in 7 games.
It's just such a short swing, compact. Oh, he knew as soon as he hit it, it was gone.
Miggy knows that feeling for sure. Suarez hit the first home run for Team Venezuela tonight, back in that 1st inning. A 2-run shot to left field.
For this Israel team is a demoralizing. You get one back and then Luis Arise, nope. Hold on a second. I'm going to get that one back.
Four RBIs in the tournament already for Luis Arise, 2 in each game. 1-1 to Suarez. Buckles the knees a bit with the sweeper. Talking to the home plate umpire, saying thought that was a little up.
how compact and soft he is when he lands his foot in Luis Arraez. There's not much loading mechanism with his hands. Wow. He loads with his hips.
Always has a smile on his face, and I'm sure, I don't know how many, but I'm sure he's got some tickets to this game. Still calls this area home here in South Florida. Was a Marlin for about a year and a half. Suarez takes up and in.
But we know, you know, he sprays the ball around, but he's always played in big parks. You know, it just seems to wonder if he would play in a smaller yard, say Cincinnati or New York, or would he hit more home runs? So I know hand-eye coordination is there. He's going to get his base hits.
Oh yeah. And again, that's the.
Can he hit 20 home runs?
Yeah. It's almost like, you know, how Ichiro, if I wanted to, I could. Ichiro used to say that, you know. Ichiro over 1,000, 3,000 hits rather in the big leagues. But that's the thing with Arraez and where we're at as an industry. We always talk about exit velocity and launch angle and home run distance and all these metrics. It's just not his game, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Abreu fouls that one away. So this was 2023. There's a home run to right field. And then another home run to right field. Certainly not a cheapie. Had the place rocking.
What a game that was. Oh. A tale of two different movies. See, Arraez is the 2-homer game. Look at those numbers.
That one kicks away from Stubbs, and an extra 90 feet for Suarez. By the way, Arraez, last note on him, at least for this time around. I'm sure we'll talk plenty more about it. 6 homers in the regular season at Lone Depot Park, with a larger sample size than his WBC career, which he has 3.
Huh.
The ratios continue to look good for Arraez. Scoreboard looks good for Venezuela, up 5-1. Now towards shallow left. And an Arraez home run gets the run right back. 5-1 as we play on here in Miami.
They need 9 outs to get there.
Jorge Lopez, man, just you mentioned the fact he's a free agent. This is an audition too. You're on a ginormous platform where you can really take off, turn some heads, but man, he struggled tonight.
And the first pitch after the rain delay is there from Kenny Hernandez for a called strike to Reyes. All right, Ryan Rowland-Smith, we're going to test your World Baseball Classic trivia knowledge. How many previous rain delays have there been in the World Baseball Classic?
Just trying to think of the domes. Obviously, in Asia, we always see the domes.
Miami as well. Houston this year.
I'm going to say rain delays. 06, 09. I'm going way too deep with this. I'm going to say 3.
Now, after tonight, there have been 3. Good work. Look at you. This is the second in San Juan, this one of 24 minutes. We had a rain delay March 7th of 2013 between Venezuela and the Dominican Republic. That one lasted 50 minutes. We have now set the record for the shortest rain delay in World Baseball Classic history. The first ever was in the semifinal between Japan and Korea in 2006. And I was at that game as a college student, March 18th, 2006. I was there with my college best friends, Ryan and Greg and Jenny, as that went off the mound out to second. And my college best buddy, Greg, a son of a Padres season ticket holder family, as the rain started to come down, he said they're going to have to get the tarp out soon because this crew never has to pull tarp in San Diego. And if they let it rain too much, it's going to get to be kind of a problem. And it was a struggle to get the tarp on the field, but they finally did. Japan knocked off Korea in that semi. Moved on to the final where they took down Cuba for the inaugural World Baseball Classic Championship. And as Eddie Rosario climbs in search of his first hit tonight, look at you nailing that question. Good work. Rosario, in the first trip to the plate for him today, grounded into an inning-ending double play. He struck out after a leadoff single for Hernandez in the 5th. But for all of this action today, one swing could tie this game. And for Panama, fighting through so much adversity offensively, a breakthrough with those 2 runs, you got 0 breathing room as Rosario swings and can't get that one. It's 1-2. Couple of home runs that we showed you earlier in the Classic from 2023, and big moments in Miami. His fan favorite waits on the 1-2 and takes it to even the count.
We saw him last night in that 5th inning get a hanging slider against Colombia. It was a left on left. Just kind of floated out over the plate. Big base hit, got that offense cranking.
2-2 line, right side, lunging grab, Arauz for the second out. Wow, what a play.
Well, Tyler, we said coming into this Pool A play that Panama is going to have to pitch and they're going to have to play defense. I'm telling you right now, some of the plays we've seen out in right field, we talked about some of those catches from Luis Castillo. Arauz, nice play, knocking down this ball and getting that second out of the 7th inning as these outs start to dwindle away.
Fantastic play to retire Rosario, and that brings up Emmanuel Rivera. Doubled to lead off the 3rd inning, flew out in the 5th. We're going to start something here with 2 outs for Puerto Rico. 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for Panama. 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error for Puerto Rico. And a shot in the air to center. That'll get down in front of Ramos. Second hit of the night for Rivera.
Getting the pitch, middle of the plate. Base hit. Kenny Hernandez. Tip your cap, press the reset button. Get this 3rd out. See a pinch runner coming in.
Pinch runner will be Edwin Arroyo, the Cincinnati Reds prospect.
And the way this game's shaping out too, look, you got the 8th and 9th inning. You know you're going to have to get through the top part of this Puerto Rican lineup with Willie Castro, Heliot Ramos, and then Nolan Arenado at some point. Then you get one last chance to hit in this game. So if you're Jose Mayorga down there on that bench, you'll start figuring out how you're going to match this up, how you're going to wiggle your way through some of these outs here in the 8th and 9th inning.
Visit to the mound here from Julio Rangel, the pitching coach for this Panama team. All right, Ryan, so here is the question now. You've lifted a guy who has put 2/5 of your hits on the board from the lineup, Rivera, in favor of the pitch hitter Arroyo. Do you risk putting Edwin Arroyo in motion?
That's a great question. I mean, at this point, if you're going to have a pinch runner, may as well utilize it, right? A situation like that. So the hard thing is you got Kenny Hernandez on the mound who's left-handed, so it's obviously tougher to get that jump. Trying to get something in motion. Make something happen.
5 relievers who came out of the bullpen yesterday, all of those guys are available today. The 1-day mandatory rest period comes with 30 pitches. So monster spot here for Christian Vázquez. Vázquez, that strikeout came in the 3rd. Outfield is very deep, especially in left, where Johnny Santos is
maybe 2-3 steps from the warning track, and this one is on the ground, and it's back up the middle, around second, headed for third. Arroyo is in there, flying 90 feet away from the plate as the potential tying run in the 7th.
Christian Vasquez has had a couple good swings in this game. This is a pitch he can definitely handle. Look, you saw the numbers from 2025 with the Twins, hit under 200, just the 3 home runs. As his career starting to get to that later stage, he's not known obviously for his offense, but coming up big right here now. All of a sudden, Puerto Rico in business in the 7th inning.
Goodness gracious, Edwin Arroyo on his horse around second base. And we're going to get a pinch hitter here in the 9 spot in place of Brian Torres, as Puerto Rico will summon Matthew Lugo off the bench.
Matthew Lugo, LA Angel, at 31 games last year, hit .230, 4 home runs.
First pitch to Lugo. Strike 1. Lugo was in the lineup yesterday for Puerto Rico in the night game. His team's 5-0 win. Only got 2 at-bats before he was replaced by Torres as a pinch hitter. And here he is in a monumental moment in the bottom of the 7th. Ball and a strike on it. Lugo last season saw 102 games with the Salt Lake Bees of the Pacific Coast League, hit .262 with a .763 OPS. 1-1 fouled back, and it's 1-2. Abdiel Mendoza getting to work in Panama's bullpen.
I'll tell you what, Kenny Hernandez, we talked about the double play he got in that last inning, shut down Puerto Rico. With this pitch right here, 1-2 count. Might be the biggest pitch of his World Baseball Classic.
Lugo waiting. 1-2 pitch, runner off from first. Swing and a miss, and Hernandez wins the battle and sends this game to the 8th. What a job by Kenny Hernandez after the delay. 2-1, Panama leads it. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of World Baseball Classic Incorporated and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Old Town San Juan, one of the most beautiful places on earth as we move along from here on Bithorn Stadium to the top of the 8th inning in a 1-run ball game. How about our researcher Anthony Orza digging this up? 20 years ago to the day today in this ballpark, these two teams played a 2-1 game. It was Puerto Rico with the win in that one. But being held to 2 runs in this ballpark by anybody is a rarity. It's the second fewest runs Puerto Rico has ever scored in a game at this park. March 7th, 2006, Puerto Rico and Cuba came out of that pool that year. And we got some changes in this game as we move into the top of the 8th. Martin Maldonado has taken over behind the plate. Carlos Vasquez is into first base after starting this game behind the plate. Matthew Lugo moves out to center field as Brian Torres departs the lineup. And the first pitch with Luis Quinones back out there after the delay is in for a called strike to Leo Bernal. It's 0-1. Bernal 0 for 3 out of the 3 spot, the Cardinals' prized catching prospect. And it's 0-2. Diaz, the home plate umpire, has been involved in a lot tonight, but unfortunately unable to make the play there on that tapper. 0-2. Bernal retired on a ground out to first in the 5th inning. That ended that 2-run charge for his team, and he's 0 for 4 tonight, swinging and missing here.
That split from Quinones is nasty. He's gotten a couple punch outs already with that. Floats through the strike zone.
This has been just an incredibly pitched game. Jose Espada getting loose down that right field line for Puerto Rico. It is all hands on deck tonight. Panama trying to avoid dropping into an 0-2 hole to start this classic. And Puerto Rico, after that 5-0 win last night, in need of the offense to come alive with 6 outs to go. Big hack and miss from Jose Ramos. Does not take a lot of cheap swings, does Ramos. 3 arms out of the bullpen tonight on beyond Eduardo Rivera, who is terrific in this start.
Now we saw Edwin Diaz, Fernando Cruz, that back end of this bullpen come out last night, a 5-run lead. And you got to think too, and maybe that's something where, you know, the Dodgers obviously with Edwin Diaz especially, maybe that was pre-planned, where it's like, all right, we're going to structure what days you can actually pitch in that opening round.
Another big cut from Ramos, and it's 0-2. Took that, it's 2-2. Ramos tonight has been on in all 3 trips of the plate. A couple of singles, reached on a fielder's choice as well. Quinones set from the letters, the 2-2, and Ramos fouls it back. Edwin Diaz last night, Ryan, the electric entrance. This was a moment unlike anything I've experienced in a ballpark. He was incredible last night.
Yeah, he was, man. I mean, we weren't quite expecting because they had that 5-run lead, but you saw him come out in the trumpets, kick off, and man, this place went nuts.
Full count now on Ramos. Juan Camargo behind him. Quinones ready. 3-2. Got him. 4 strikeouts now in an inning and 2/3 for Luis Quinones.
You look at that fastball, it's low 90s, but it plays up. Why? Because in the back of your mind, you're thinking about that split. We've seen a few of them. So you stand there on the on-deck circle, you know it's coming at some point. You have to choose one. You got to eliminate a pitch. See Ramos well behind that hitter at the top of the strike zone.
So 2 gone and the base is empty for Camargo.
There's that split. Fantastic.
0-1 on him.
Again, when you can land a pitch like that, it's so tough to command. There's no spin on that pitch at all. But when you can land that in the strike zone, it just makes it so much tougher. We see that from Fernando Cruz is in that Puerto Rican bullpen.
0-2.
It makes that 93 look like 98.
Quinones looking to get his team back into the dugout as Camargo will call time and hear about it from the fans here on Vitorn. Oh, 2. It's on the way. Got it. 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. Brilliance from Luis Quinones. Well, coming up tomorrow, you've got us all day again for more action from Pool A as this group continues. At 12 o'clock, Colombia and Cuba kick us off with Game 1 on Day 3. Then at 7 o'clock, Panama gets the night game of the doubleheader again as they'll square off with Canada. So impressive today. And Puerto Rico needs this offense to come alive with 6 outs to go as we move into the bottom half of the 8th inning. Back here on Vitorn Stadium alongside Ryan Rowland-Smith. My name is Tyler Mon.
Man, I tell you what, this is really reminding me of 2023 if Panama can pull this off and get these remaining 6, now 5 outs.
Abdiel Mendoza into the game, gets the first out himself. One away, Willie Castro retired. That'll bring up Elliot Ramos.
I mean, this would be a huge upset. We walked away from the Canadian game this afternoon, right, against Colombia. Carl, you and I said, okay, Puerto Rico, Canada, and Cuba were those 3 teams that we kind of earmarked to say, all right, 3 of these teams have to take 2 spots. Now all of a sudden, Panama is creating all kinds of drama here. If this is going to be an upset, 5 outs to go.
Well, for a couple of guys who watched Pool A 3 years ago in Taichung, you never determine anything the first 2 days. As we were noting earlier, if you would have asked us in 2023 after day 2, well, who's going home, who's going to be relegated, we would have said Cuba. 0-2 to start that event. They ended up rallying themselves, winning their final 2, making it on through on the tiebreakers to the quarterfinal, beat Australia there, and made it to the semis for the first time since 2006 as the Las Diaz show continues here on Bithorn Stadium. This time, pitch timer violation on Panama's reliever Abdiel Mendoza, and I think he's telling Yadier Molina, yeah, I got it this time. So 2-0, Mendoza deals. And Ramos shoots it right side, diving stab over there by Bethencourt, and the catcher slash converted reliever slash first baseman, outstanding flash in the leather, the second out of the 8th.
That is an amazing play, especially when you've got the heart of this lineup coming up. You've got 5 outs to get, and Bethencourt, we talked about this, he only played 37 games over there at first base. Wow, what a play to his left. Quick reaction. Getting a huge second out here in the 8th inning.
So now it's Nolan Arenado's turn. Arenado drove in the only run of this game with a sacrifice fly in the 6th inning, with the bases loaded in that frame and nobody out. Puerto Rico fans who have adopted him as one of their own, they'll cheer that. Arenado is aboard on a hit by pitch.
Break ball just backed up.
And that's going to be the end of the night for Abdiel Mendoza. So 3 batters faced for Mendoza, tying run aboard as we move along in the 8th. Here's what's coming up in Pool A action tomorrow and Monday. Doubleheaders again. Colombia will play in the day games in each of those against Cuba, and then Panama on the 8th and 9th. Puerto Rico off tomorrow, so it'll be Panama and Canada in the night game, and that one is shaping up to be a big one. But Ryan, the last 3 games of this pool right now, especially after the early game today, seemed like we were going to put those with big circles around them for potentially the determining spots moving on to the quarters.
Yeah, I mean, this game, if it holds, right, you got 4 outs if you're Panama, but it is going to create havoc in this pool. And how big are those remaining days as we close out Pool A? But man, just so much up in the air right now. And Baldonado pitching Japan this year, lefty with that low to mid-90s fastball.
First pitch is ball 1 to Carlos Cortez. We have a pinch runner on in place of Nolan Arenado. Luis Vasquez, some additional speed on the base paths as the potential tying run. Pressure of that, of being a pinch runner, as Las Diaz will go out. Pitch comm issue for Alberto Baldonado. So Arenado still hitless in the Classic, but tonight has made himself valuable with the sacrifice fly, taking that pitch off the elbow guard a moment ago.
Man, again, we talked about Puerto Rico the last couple of months, right? What they've had to deal with losing some of their key players. You come into this tournament, took you to the 5th inning to get going. This crowd erupted. And all of a sudden now you're staring down the barrel of potentially losing a game against Panama, huge upset. So you kind of zoom out a little bit and you start thinking to yourself, man, what ifs? A lot of what ifs happening. You start to press a little bit.
Man, you look at the tension and the stress on the faces all around this ballpark, not only in the Puerto Rico dugout, but the nearly 20,000 in the house tonight. Maldonado continuing to have issues with the pitch comm. They're going to have to bring out a different device. Ryan, this obviously is a new era of baseball with the use of the pitch comm, but
I mean,
how much, even though you didn't pitch with it, how much can that throw you out of your rhythm?
Yeah, 100%. And we see this a lot in the big leagues too, where guys have issues with the pitch comm. It's just not connecting sometimes. Sometimes the Bluetooth's not connecting or you can't hear it. The volume is not. I've talked to guys and they're coming to games and the volume's not quite getting all the way up to what they need, especially if it's loud. But we see it quite a bit. But yeah, it can 100% throw you out of your rhythm, that's for sure. Especially if it's your first time bowling. I don't know if he's using this in Japan or not.
Well, not only that, but the rain delay of 27 minutes a little while ago. We've had a lot of starts and stops here over the last hour at Iran Bithawang Stadium.
You do not want to come in left-on-left matchup and go 3-0 to Cortez in this situation and have to face that righty.
There's strike one. Cortez tonight 1 for 3. He grounded into the inning-ending double play as Puerto Rico threatened for a big 6th inning. They only got 1. Maldonado trying to climb back into it. 3-1. Lifted foul.
They cheated on that pitch a little bit, saw something up, jumped all over it.
This is an agonizing night for the 18,925 in this ballpark. 3-2. Tapper foul.
Yeah, if you're Maldonado right now, it's the situation 3-2. You're trying to find that command still. So take that extra breath, get that little mechanical cue, whatever it is, get those fingers on top of those seams and just bury this slider right here. 3-2, get that punch out.
Here it comes. And a bouncing ball left side. Sosa has it to first and dug out by Bethancourt. A terrific defensive inning for Panama, and the lead remains. We go to the 9th in San Juan. It's a 2-1 advantage for the visitors out in front of Puerto Rico. It's been a frustrating night offensively for Puerto Rico, and Ryan, if you are a fan of this Puerto Rico squad, quite obviously your mind would drift to the big bats who are not here with your team.
They really do, right? So you put yourself in the situation in that dugout right now. So you come in yesterday, you've kind of put that in the rearview mirror. Then you know you're not going to get Javi Baez, Francisco Lindor, and Correa. And so you try and come together as a team, knowing that you're going to be a little bit short-handed. And you have that big win last night when Diaz coming out with the trumpets to close it down. So all of a sudden you definitely put that even more in the rearview mirror. Now all of a sudden you're in the 9th inning. You're 3 outs away from getting upset by Panama back on home turf. First time since 2013. So what happens is you zoom out a little bit. All these things, when you talk about losing the players and some of the pressing, just gets so magnified from what you're missing out on. And what happens is too, Tyler, so you go into, I know they're off tomorrow, but you go to batting practice and when you see everyone standing around out in the outfield, that's when those conversations start to kick in. Well, we don't have these guys. Well, this happened, that happened. That's when so you got to avoid that the best way you can. But man, it is tough when you're sitting behind Panama right now with 3 outs to go.
Some changes defensively. Hernandez moves over to third base, and Vasquez is in at short. Santos skies this one out to center. Matthew Lugo inserted into this game here in the middle stages. Puts it away.
Again, if you're Panama too, you can't be sitting pretty right now thinking you're in complete control. You need to have the insurance run any way you can. I'm not saying they're not trying to, that's for sure, but man, it'll help. Just get that extra little bit of breathing room.
Jose Espada on for his first work of the Classic as Edwin Diaz looks on.
And you can see where he's in the dugout too. So we talked about this last night. He came into pitch last night. Now we don't know this, obviously. We don't get the information from Yadi Molina, but him and Fernando Cruz, well, we got some restrictions there. They're going to pitch that first night, regardless of the score. He's sitting down. He's not going to go back-to-back. Edwin Diaz, probably in the second round, third round, if they get there. But I'll tell you what, man, they're in a tough spot right now here in the ninth inning, down by a run.
The rain has started again. Arauz sees the count go to 1-1 on him. Jones starting to move back under cover. And it is springtime in a tropical place. A swing and a miss there by Arauz. It's 1-2. The rain kind of comes in waves. We get really, really heavy spells and then extremely light, almost misty spells. And at least here in the ninth, barring any sort of absolute downpour like we had during the delay, keep this game moving. 1-2 pitch is down low. Arauz is 0 for 2 tonight, but he was hit by a pitch and scored in the 5th inning. Here comes the 2-2. Got it. That is now 6 strikeouts over the last 8 outs for Puerto Rico's pitching staff.
Espada's got that really good tilt, that high arm angle. Comes straight downhill with that really vertical slider to go with it.
So 2 gone, and here's Bethencourt, who has been a big factor in this one. Fantastic defensive work last inning for him. Had a double that got his team on the board in the 5th inning. Later scored on Luis Castillo's double.
Tyler, too. The other part we talked about inside the dugout. What about around this ballpark as well, man? They have gone quiet. We lost a little bit of the music in between the innings.
Yeah.
I get it. I know it's raining. It's uncomfortable. There's some shock, obviously, with these fans expecting Puerto Rico to just absolutely dominate like they have by World Baseball Classic.
You know, 3 years ago, we've talked so much about Pool A in 2023 and what became known as the Pool of Chaos, with everybody finishing 2-2. We had some results early in that group that we didn't expect. This would be the first one that was a real, true upset domino to fall.
Yeah, for sure.
What a massive win this would be for Jose Mayorga and Panama if they can get the final 3 outs in the 9th. 2-2 now on Bethencourt.
And I guarantee you, Canada's sitting at home, and Cuba. I'm licking their lips at this right now. It's 3 outs away from this upset.
2-2. Puts it full. Yeah, if this result holds, it's wide open now.
Yeah.
Because I think if you look at Puerto Rico potentially at 2-0, half game up on Canada, the other winner from earlier today, and Cuba, the winner from yesterday, you think, well, they got home field advantage, they got 2 games left, they're probably going through, could win this group fairly easily. But if Puerto Rico drops to 1-1, Panama is 1-1, a couple of 1-0 teams, 1-0-2 team, everything is in play. Bethencourt to 3rd. And we will go to the bottom of the 9th. Puerto Rico 3 outs to work with and 1 run the deficit. Prior to 2023, Panama had never won a World Baseball Classic game in the main tournament. They knocked off Chinese Taipei in Taiwan. They beat Italy in the Pool of Chaos 3 years ago. But this, make no mistake, would be the biggest win maybe in Panamanian baseball history, in a game that didn't have a title on the line. If they can take down a host team in a hostile road environment in a game like this, as they carry a 1-run lead into the bottom of the ninth, and they will trust the veteran Alberto Baldonado back in the Americas, currently playing with the Yomiuri Giants in Tokyo and trying to get the 3 biggest outs in World Baseball Classic history for his country.
You're starting to see this crowd come alive right now, on their feet, trying to get some kind of life from this Puerto Rican offense, because this would be a huge upset here in Puerto Rico.
He'll face 5, 6, and 7 in the Puerto Rico lineup. Darrell Hernandez leads things off and takes ball 1.
He's got Hernandez and he's got Eddie Rosario, the lefty. And you're going to see Martin Maldonado came in to be behind the plate.
2-0. Brian is a guy who's pitched in a lot of high leverage spots. He's pitched in the WBC. He's pitched in a pair of qualifiers. He's had a lot of work in Japan. But this is a different animal right now for Baldonado. And the nerves, the energy, all of that into play as he deals strike 1, and a frustrated Hernandez has got to be careful here. Backing away from Las Diaz as Yadier Molina is going to separate the two.
Man, we've been seeing plenty of Las Diaz this game, man. There's been plenty of drama. Wasn't a bad pitch, but Las Diaz needs to. I understand the frustration. This pitch looked like it was down below the strike zone in a game like this, and this is what the pressing will do, right? Look at Hernandez's reaction. Look at him. You are just begging for every one-up on every pitch.
And that's a pivot point, because if that's called correctly, it's a 3-0 count right now. Instead, it's 2-1. And Hernandez skies one down the right field line. Long run out there for Castillo, and in foul ground, he's not going to get there. But the count now even at 2-2.
Luis Castillo kind of pulled up on that a little bit. So, get another look at it. He had a long way to go right here. He got all that foul ground. You see him kind of give up a little bit on that ball. He was a little frustrated when he picked that ball up as well.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Hernandez singled to lead off the 5th, 1 for 3 tonight, trying to get his team started in the bottom of the 9th. And he takes ball 3.
Wow. You saw that right hand right there from Las Diaz thinking he was about to ring him up. It's a good pitch. Here are Baldonado. He slipped behind in the count to get that big punch out to finish off the 8th inning. Came back and got the out. Another 3-2 count.
Fly ball into right. This one should be more playable for Castillo. Another long run, but shaded toward the line. He gets there in foul ground for the first out of the bottom of the 9th.
And if you're Baldonado right now, you got Eddie Rosario coming up, left on left. This is your out. You put yourself in a situation where you got 2 outs in the inning, and you can get a little looser with Maldonado, who's on deck, but you have to get into a good count right here and take care of the left-on-left matchup against Eddie Rosario.
The chant starts.
Pretty good pitch right there, a little breaking ball, 0-0. And Eddie Rosario is going to be in swing mode. We've seen this the last couple of days. And see Baldonado pitching away from him.
Rosario now frustrated. Just cuts across the knees. Former NLCS MVP, no stranger to the big moments in the postseason and in the Classic. The 1-1, 2-1.
And if you want to know what pressing looks like, look at that Puerto Rican dugout on every single pitch. Yes, they're borderline pitches, I get it. We don't see that in the 6th, 7th inning if you're up by a couple runs. That is straight panic mode from that dugout right now.
2-1 pitch. evens it up at 2-2. Went off speed at 79 miles an hour, and he bends that in to level it. Here comes a 2-2. And the count goes full on Rosario.
This is
one away.
This is a good at-bat too, Tyler. I said going into this at-bat that Eddie Rosario is going to be in swing mode. We've seen that from him the first couple of days, first couple of at-bats. And here, waiting this at-bat out, getting to a 3-2 count.
Here it comes. And ball 4 puts the tying run on in the 9th.
I mean, this is a well-executed pitch. Could have gone either way, but this strike zone has been so inconsistent tonight, especially in these later innings.
We'll get another visit to the mound from Julio Rangel, who has been busy tonight, getting his steps in from that third base dugout. This is the final mound visit of the night for Panama. But Ryan, in more World Baseball Classic trivia, never in the first 5+ editions of this event had the World Baseball Classic seen a walk-off home run until this afternoon in Miami, when Ozzie Albies belted a 3-run shot in the bottom of the 9th to lead the Netherlands to a 4-3 win over Nicaragua. And we have at least the opportunity for another one here tonight. And it'll be a veteran stepping into the batter's box in Martin Maldonado.
He had a big RBI base hit last night. We know this is the last hurrah for Martin Maldonado. He has called it quits last October. And he's getting a chance to represent Puerto Rico one last time. See if he can come up and be the hero here on night number 2.
First pitch on the way to Maldonado is low and away for ball 1. One thing to keep in mind, there are no other catchers on this roster, so if Maldonado gets on, he kind of has to stay in this game. It's not great speed. He would be the potential game-winning run. 1-0 pitch. 2-0.
Maldonado's feeling it right now. You make that pitch, I'll say he executed that 3-2 pitch to Rosario, and you can anchor on that. You didn't get the call. You cannot let that seep into this next at-bat because you're frustrated.
2-0. That one's hummed in there at 94 from Maldonado. Maldonado on the hill, Maldonado in the batter's box. Tying run on base for Puerto Rico with 1 gone in the 9th. And the count is even. 3 straight hitters to 2-2.
Perfect spot, down and in.
Machete waiting. 2-2. Right side, that's through, a base hit. Rounding at second. Here goes Rosario for third, and he's in there safely. The tying run 1 station away in the 9th.
You see Martin Maldonado just inside out in that ball. We saw him knock one up the middle on the ground this time. Just enough to sneak through that hole. And I'll tell you right now, for that last go around with Team Puerto Rico doing what he's doing, is you see Martin Maldonado coming out for a pinch runner.
So there goes that analysis. There's no more catchers left on this squad. Puerto Rico's trying to win this thing right now.
Coming to pitch run.
So runners at the corners now for Christian Vasquez. And he takes ball 1.
Tremendous base running by Eddie Rosario to get himself to third on the single by Maldonado. 1-0 pitch. Popped up, first base side, and this will get out of here 3 rows deep behind the Puerto Rico dugout.
I'll tell you what, man, look, we talked about anchoring on that one pitch if you're Maldonado right now. That walk to Eddie Rosario, and they can seep into the next at-bat. But right now, we talked about executing and making some pitches, man. There is nothing tougher right now. When you feel the crowd, it gets loud. You can hear every little decibel. The game starts to speed up on you. Puerto Rico need to take advantage.
1-1 into right. Shallow. Castillo there, tagging at third. Rosario bluffs and holds, and rightfully so. A perfect peg from Castillo, and there's 2 away with runners at the corners for Matthew Lugo.
Man, got a good pitch to hit. Look at Castillo. Perfect throw through the cut. Whew. I mean, you are walking the tightrope right now if you're a Maldonado.
So it all comes down to Matthew Lugo. Entered this game as a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 7th, struck out to end that inning with runners at the corners and 2 outs, and he finds himself in the same exact situation here in the 9th. An opportunity to redeem himself. First pitch on the way to him. Ball 1. Carlos Beltran's nephew in the batter's box, trying to play the role of hero for Puerto Rico and the 18,925 in this stadium tonight. 1-0 pitch. 2-0.
All of a sudden, that strike zone's tightened up a little bit. Felt like that's a pretty good pitch again. Maldonado wearing out that bottom part of the strike zone.
Left-hander deals. And Lugo takes ball 3. High drama in the bottom of the 9th at Iran Bitorn. 3-0. In for strike 1. Even if you don't have a cheering interest in this game, your heart rate's elevated and your blood pressure has skyrocketed in the 9th. Maldonado deals. And ball 4 loads him up and sends it back to the top of the order, and Willie Castro.
You talk about backing yourself into a corner. You got Lugo, who you saw punch out to your fellow lefty, and Kenny Hernandez early in this game on a pitch down the middle. Now all of a sudden you got Willie Castro, the all-star, the top of this lineup with loaded bases.
And this is easily the biggest at-bat of both of these guys' lives right now. Willie Castro tonight is 1 for 4. He singled in the 6th inning. In trying to deliver a second win in as many nights for Puerto Rico in front of this sellout crowd. First pitch coming. And Castro takes ball 1. And you got to be honest, for Maldonado, Ryan, I'm not sure he knows where the zone is right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been inconsistent. He has landed some of these pitches down the bottom of the strike zone. Strike zone's all of a sudden tightened up a little bit. You just got to take that extra breath and keep executing your pitches.
1-0. 2-0. Maldonado's got nowhere to put anybody. Eddie Rosario at third base. Pinch runner MJ Melendez at second. Matthew Lugo at first. and walking on that high wire with no net to save him. Baldonado alone on that mound right now. 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes on Castro.
And look, 35 pitches in. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of physical fatigue, but more so mental fatigue right now from Baldonado.
And the 3-0 pitch is nowhere close, and we're all tied up in the 9th. And that's going to be it for Alberto Baldonado.
I'll tell you what, you see Eddie Rosario, that at-bat he had, right? He's been so aggressive the first couple of days. It's left on left. He's looking for something that he can drive, but he was so patient. He got to 3-2, and he drew that walk. That kicked everything off, and Baldonado is absolutely cooked.
Pitching change for Panama. Brand new ball game. All even at 2 apiece. The only walk-off in Puerto Rico's World Baseball Classic history came back in 2017, and this squad has a chance to do it again tonight. As we move deeper into the 9th, the bases are loaded, and Severino Gonzalez is onto the pitcher's mound, and his first offering to Elliot Ramos is bounced to third, and we are headed to extras. First pitch swinging after his team tied it in the bottom of the 9th. Ramos grounds out, and we go to the 10th, all even at 2. Head to extra innings in a brand new ball game as Willie Castro's bases loaded walk in the bottom of the 9th tied this thing just a little while ago. And Puerto Rico's dugout and the 19,000 in this ballpark exploding in jubilation as Eddie Rosario scored the game-tying run. But just a couple of moments later, Severino Gonzalez gets the final out of the 9th on the first pitch to Elliot Ramos. And I gotta say, Ryan, in the break, you and I were both a little stunned that Elliot Ramos didn't at least stand in there and take one pitch and try to let the atmosphere rattle Gonzalez.
Absolutely. Now, again, I can only speak because I've been there before. When you're in that bullpen, by the way, the tarp was on their bullpen down in Panama's bullpen, right? Not saying that they were completely checked out, but it would have taken a lot for you to pitch in that game.
Extra innings rules are in effect here in the Classic. So Christian Betancourt is out at second base to start extras, and the bunt is down from Castillo, and a tough play as the throw to first is dug out. Holy smokes! Wow. What a play by Willie Castro. That is not a first baseman. Covering the bag, and he makes the backhanded pick for the first out.
This is amazing. Look, he's trying to rush a little bit. He tried to barehand it. Didn't have time to set his feet. I'm telling you, recovered nicely. Nice little pick right there from Willie Castro. But just to finish that thought, man, you're coming into that into that game from the bullpen. You know, again, the place is loud. Your heart rate's through the roof. You're trying to find the strike zone. You got loaded bases, all these, and then all of a sudden you got one of the best players in the game, Elliot Ramos, 60 feet away. He barrels you out. First pitch. I was a little stunned. I'm not going to lie.
This may have saved the night for Puerto Rico. Espada's throw is low. That is such a difficult play to make, especially if you're not a first baseman by trade. Willie, you're using a smaller glove. You're out of position.
Yeah, you're anchoring that bag with that left foot. And the whole idea, too, at first base, you need to kind of stick that glove, right, as opposed to a second baseman where they try and lift that glove on the ball. But, man, what a play, what a recovery.
MJ Melendez, by the way, is in at first for Puerto Rico as Christian Vasquez went back behind the plate where he started this game, and a good block there as Jose Espada continues to work. So here are the extra innings rules. The last batter, the last out of the previous inning, starts the next inning on base at second. Batter that precedes the leadoff hitter in the extra inning. So that was Christian Betancourt. Comes in there for a strike. With the count at 2-2, back at the top of the order on Jose Caballero. Caballero 0 for 3 tonight, reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. He walked in the 7th. Here he is in the 10th, trying to lift Panama to the lead once more.
They held it throughout until the bottom of the ninth. And the count full on Caballero. What a game. Second night of Pool A here in San Juan. Espada ready. And a flare to center field, and Panama's back in front. An RBI single for Jose Caballero. It's a 3-2 lead for the visitors.
Wow. We've seen some good at-bats lately from both of these teams, and Jose Caballero has that ability to slow the game down. It doesn't really speed up on him. Look at this. Gets that bat head through. He is fired up. That's a tough pitch again, too, especially with the open base. You know you're going to get some sort of secondary pitch. He stays on it. It's a back up the middle.
So here's Edmundo Sosa.
And don't be surprised right here. We talked about Caballero taking off. You got that Espada's got that big leg kick. 49 bags last year in 2025. Trying to get the scoring position, get that second run, which would be huge for Panama.
Sosa finds himself down to the count 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes on the guy who's 0 for 2 with a walk. He was plunked by a pitch in this game. Check over at first, man. MJ Melendez, who has taken up the spot at first base. Good job just trying to receive and slap a tag on at the same moment, but back in safely Caballero. Got to be really mindful of him and those wheels. Espada deals the 0-2. Caballero's off with it. Throw down to second base is in time. No! The ball slips away from Castro, and the stolen base puts Caballero in scoring position. What a throw by Vasquez.
Yeah, this is a good throw. I tell you what, though, Jose Caballero had a nice jump. Tough pitch to throw on. We talked about Castro trapping that ball down at first base and able to hold on to it.
Second game to go to extras in the Classic for each of these teams in their WBC histories. As Espada deals, and a ground ball left side, picked on the backhand, long throw and a good dig over at first by Melendez. 2 gone.
I'll tell you what. Now I know he's down 2 strikes, but if they could get that second run across Panama, man, they're going to be. It takes the bunt away from Puerto Rico in the bottom of their inning in the 10th.
And a couple of just amazing digs over at first base in this inning by Willie Castro and MJ Melendez.
And you got the top 100 prospect coming up right here in Bernal, trying to have a big moment.
And how much does it help having guys who are versatile defensively, can make those plays, can shift around the infield? Yeah. Christian Vasquez starting behind the plate, played a couple innings at first base. He's back behind the plate now. There's Alan Cordoba on the right side of your screen there, who did not start in this game due to some shoulder soreness. That reconfigured the whole Panama lineup, and a good pick there by Vasquez. But something has worked tonight for Panama. It's not a ton of offensive output, but it's enough to this point as you look at Cordoba.
I just have to dig deep on that pitching stuff, man. Baldonado was running on fumes, Tyler. Those last couple of hitters, not just physically but mentally too, man. He just looked exhausted. I tell you what, this Puerto Rican team, this veteran group, identifying that, I'm still stunned Elliot Ramos swinging at that first pitch.
That's going to be the thing. If Panama is able to hold on and win this, that's going to be the talking point.
100%.
For Puerto Rico fans.
All will be forgotten, that's for sure. But again, just that at-bat. You've got to have a good at-bat, man. You've got this team on the ropes. You've got them pressing, all of a sudden you've got the advantage back in your dugout.
Nobody's working in that bullpen out beyond the left field wall for Panama, so it'll be Severino Gonzalez's bottom of the 10th. Can Jose Espada get his team there with just a 1-run deficit? One. Good take there by Leo Bernal, the Cardinals catching prospect. 0 for 4 tonight, a strikeout to lead off the 8th inning. That was the second in a string of 5 strikeouts and 6 batters for Puerto Rico's pitching staff. Espada deals. Ball yanked foul to make it 2-2. What a night in San Juan.
I'll be shocked if he gets anything straight here, especially anything in the strike zone. He'll try and get the chase. Slider below the strike zone right now.
To right field, this ball's down for a base hit. Cortez in to get it. Throw to the plate is a strike in time to cut down Caballero and keep it as a 1-run game going to the bottom of the 10th. The World Baseball Classic. Expect everything. 3-2 our score. Puerto Rico to the bat rack for the bottom of the 10th when we return. Wins championships, applies across all sports, and Puerto Rico put on a clinic in the top half of the 10th inning. This throw may well have saved the night for the home team.
Perfect throw from Carlos Cortez, but a couple things to unpack right here. Number one, you've got Jose Caballero at second base. They turned to pick, and they did that back to knowing chances of picking him off are pretty slim. However, what it does is cut down that lead for exactly that. The other part of this is Bernal, man. The fact that Espada gave him a pitch to hit, he drove that ball into right field. But man, the defense, you mentioned Willie Castro too earlier on when Espada bobbled that ball. All happening here. Now all of a sudden Puerto Rico can play the bunt with a runner at second base and just a 1-run.
Luis Vasquez will lead things off. Elliot Ramos out at second, and the bunt is down, and it is a good one left side, and trouble for Gonzalez, who throws it to first. Way too late to get Vasquez. Nobody out. Winning run aboard. Vasquez does the job.
Wow, again, you talk about pressing. You had all kinds of time right here. You just have to set your feet. And you look towards third base. I don't know why, but this is where you've got to communicate. We talked about the defense on the Puerto Rican side. This is something where these infielders have to be yelling 1, 1, 1, 1. Your catcher as well. You got to hear for that, and you're just going to simply get the out in a play like that.
And Panama's training staff out for a look at Jonathan Arauz. Along with Jose Mayorga, the young manager. Looks like Arauz is okay. Panama now getting some work started in its bullpen. Vasquez takes up his spot at first.
Wow, it looks like the ball just underneath that knee.
I mean, yeah, Ryan, Severino Gonzalez, his first instinct to look at third, and Edmundo Sosa was standing next to him saying, no, you got to throw to first. I'm not there.
And again, the game's just speeding up.
Tying run at third. Winning run at first. It goes as a bunt single for Vasquez, the 9th hit of the night for Puerto Rico. And here's the defensive hero from last inning. Carlos Cortez at the plate.
This is the only walk-off in Puerto Rico's World Baseball Classic history. In the 2017 semifinal, Carlos Correa scoring the game-winning run on Eddie Rosario's sacrifice fly to send Puerto Rico to the final. Their second consecutive trip to the championship game of this event, in fact. Cortez, ground ball out to second. This will get the game tied, but the throw to first makes it a double play, and the bases are cleared, but we're all leaving at 3 apiece. Puerto Rico's taking a look at it, and they will request the review.
Yeah, we talked about the game speeding up. I said that Jose Caballero, he's one of those guys who can slow the game down. Going to get one more look maybe at this if they're going to challenge it. A nice play. Sets his feet on that bag, does it himself. This would be a massive double play if the call stands.
Ooh. Close, but it looks like the toe is on the bag there.
Well, see, Yadi came out to make sure they knew what they were going to be reviewing right here. Let's have a look at first. If you look at that foot, get off the bag, Bethencourt.
So Laz Diaz and Alex McKay over to give it a look.
Yeah, you can see his foot coming off the bag right there. That could be in business, Puerto Rico.
This game has had a little bit of everything tonight. And if Carlos Cortez is ruled safe at first, it'll be 1 out with the game-winning run still aboard. But the call on the field is out, so it needs to be clear and convincing to overturn that call. Yeah, I think they got the call right on the field.
Right.
Ball has to be all the way in the back of the glove, but it looked like it got there. What a play by Jose Caballero. I mean, that, if it stands, is best case scenario there for Panama, because you go from first and third, nobody out, to yes, the game is tied, but you've cleared the bases. And Puerto Rico's fans reacting to potentially that foot having left the bag for Bethencourt. This is a long review. Oh, man. Looking at it there, it's tough to tell if that foot is on or off the bag. I can't tell if that is mud from some of the rain that's accumulated on the bag, but we'll get the call from Laz Diaz here. The double play is upheld. Laz Diaz not making many friends tonight here in San Juan, but I think they got the call right on review, so the bases are cleared. And here is Darrell Hernandez.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see the foot coming up, that's for sure, but just not enough, obviously, to have any kind of convincing evidence to overturn that call. But again, if you're Yadi Molina, you have to challenge that, right? Hopefully there's a couple more angles in the reviewing it to maybe potentially overturn it in a game like this.
Hernandez takes a mighty hack and fouls that one back.
Darrell is an athletics prospect. 96 games with AAA Las Vegas last year. 305 hitter, 807 OPS. Also 51 games up at the big league level, 231 hitter, the OPS under 600. He does possess the ability to leave the yard. A couple of homers at the major league level last season, and this is the guy who, watching this World Baseball Classic in spring training in his hotel room in 2023, told himself, I want to be part of the next one. And here he is on the biggest stage in international baseball. And the 1-2, crushed, left field line, deep, Puerto Rico, increíble! In 20 years of the World Baseball Classic, we had never had a walk-off home run. And on this day, we've had 2. Aussie Albies this afternoon for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And Daryl Hernandez tonight for the home team in San Juan. And Puerto Rico is 2-0.
Tyler, he just got done saying that he was dreaming of this moment in his hotel room in 2023. One day I'm going to represent my country at the World Baseball Classic. Well, three years later, the guy who hit, by the way, just 2 home runs in 200 plate appearances in 2025 as an athletic, comes up huge here in the 10th inning and walks it off here in San Juan. Unbelievable.
What an absolutely indescribable night for Puerto Rico in the 19,000 here. Hernandez knew he got it, and he lifts his team to a second consecutive win to open Pool A. There is no one on planet Earth higher than that guy right now. The 24-year-old walks it off and unleashes jubilation at Iran Bithorn Stadium. The devastation for Severino Gonzalez, who got that seemingly pivotal double play ball off the bat of Carlos Cortez, but then served up that.
Yeah, that was a pitch, middle in. He just unleashed on that pitch. And you think about all that pressure, that pressing they were doing earlier on in this game, just a couple innings ago. Pressure cooker they were in. Just exploded here in the 10th inning. Wow, what a moment.
And Ryan, think about this. If you are not missing the big 3, Javier Baez, Carlos Correa, and Francisco Lindor, you don't even find yourself in a circumstance in which Daryl Hernandez is making